for some reason. Oh, this year I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to be better here, I'm going to do more here, and all of that. And you get into the new year with some vim and some vigor, and 1 month, 2 months, 3 months down the line, all the vim and vigor dissipates, and all the things that you planned, you're not able to do. Don't let that be your story this year. See if you make a New Year resolution later on today when you go to church, or even before the new year actually begins tomorrow. Make sure that you follow through on it and you put in place the steps that are necessary to get it done. Yesterday as well, the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, gave out some awards. The Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, was decorated with the prestigious Order of the Star of Ghana Award at the 2024 National Honours. Ghana's 7th Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, was decorated by President Akufo-Addo with Ghana's highest honour, which is the Order of the Star of Ghana Officer Award at the 2024 National Honours held at Accra yesterday. And it was at the Accra International Conference Centre. Dr. Bawumia, who is the NPP's presidential candidate for the just ended election, we all know, who was defeated by John Dramani Mahama, was acknowledged for his public service in the last 8 years as vice president. Yes, so that happened. Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh was also among those who was honored, or who were honored at the ceremony. And Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, aka Napo, also received an award for public service in the Order of the Volta. That's Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. And he was part of many Ghanaians from different sections, of the civil service, the military, the police. The IGP Dampare was awarded, among other things, right? Journalists were awarded. Congratulations to Joy News' Erastus for doing a lot in the Galamsey fight. He was awarded in that regard as well. Hawa Kumsin, the MP for Owutu Senya East, Honorable Hawa Kumsin, was awarded. Yes, Oseiche Mensa Bonsu and Co. All of them were given awards at the 2024 National Awards, right? And today on the Inside Out segment, we'll activate the phone lines and we'll want to ask you what your thoughts are on this. Who are you most excited about, being given that award? For the Owutu Senya East constituency, the NDC in that constituency has issued a statement saying that they do not agree in any way, shape, or form that Hawa Kumsin should be given an award because she is not fit, or she doesn't deserve to be given an award for anything. And so the president awarding the Honorable Member of Parliament for Owutu Senya East, Hawa Kumsin, is something which they are heavily opposed to. They do not agree with it, and they think that she doesn't deserve it. Very interesting stuff. We'll talk a little bit about it here on the show today as well. And much later on, like I mentioned, we're talking about New Year resolutions, right? And some of the New Year resolutions that you should be making, right? And what you should be looking forward to in 2025. And I've already asked you that you can share with us what your New Year resolutions are on our various social media platforms, Facebook, X, and Instagram at GHOne Television. Get connected with us. We're also reminding you that we're streaming live on Facebook, on X, and on YouTube as well. And so if you're going to leave your TV sets, you can always join us on your smartphone. The live feed is on, and we'll be very happy to continue to give you some good content on GHOne Television. It's the last day of the year. What quote are we going to end the year with on this very nice Tuesday morning, 31st December? Let's take a look at our quote of the day for this morning as we're, getting right on into the rest of the show. Let's take a look at our quote of the day. So this is one that we're bringing back. It's one that we've brought to you before here on GH Today, and we're bringing it back. And it's a quote by Anna Pavola, and it says, "Dance is the purest expression of every emotion, earthly and spiritual." Dance is the purest expression of every emotion, earthly and spiritual. And on that note, we tell you that when you go to church later on today, 31st December 9th, a lot of you are going to be crossing over into 2025 in church. And you can imagine that there is going to be a lot of dancing in church. So dance your heart out, express yourself, be happy, give thanks to God, because through the highs and the lows and the hills and the valleys, God has been with you and has brought you right to the 31st of December 2024, on the verge of entering into the year 2025. A lot of people do not have this opportunity, but you have this opportunity, and you should feel special and privileged to be here on this special day. So when you go to church later on today, like Anna Polova is telling us, dance is the purest expression of every emotion, earthly and spiritual. So express yourself, express your emotions through your dancing, in church, right? And I know I'm going to be dancing a lot, because in spite of all the problems, God has been good. That's our quote of the day, right? And of course, in our bid to continue to help you improve your vocabulary, we bring you our word of the day. Which word are we ending the year with? Let's take a look at it.
Today's word is GENUFLECT, genuflect. It's a verb. Genuflect means to bend one or both knees and bow as a sign of respect to God or someone. Example, she genuflected in front of the angry chiefs as she apologized. Genuflect.
Yeah, genuflect. That's our word of the day. And I know a lot of you are going to be doing that in church today as well. So it's following. So you're genuflecting in front of God Almighty, right? You're going to bend one knee or both knees and bow as a sign of respect to God for taking you through the year 2024. You get down on your knees and you say, thank you, God, for this day. And after that, you dance your heart out, and then you enter into the new year with some prayer. We'll do our video of the day for this beautiful Tuesday morning. When we return, we'll do a little bit of inside out. We'll activate the phone lines for about a few minutes, get some of your comments and your calls on the awards that were given by the president yesterday. Murtala Inusa is here. He'll be joining us with court today to tell us what we can expect in courts as far as the parliamentary elections in some of the disputed constituencies are concerned. And of course, the rest of the show unfolds. This is our video of the day. Day of the year 2024, the very final day we are going to go through for the year 2024, and then we say bye-bye to 2024, and then we enter the year 2025. And I've been saying that the year has been quite an eventful year, right? We started on the 1st of January 2024, and we are here on the 31st of December 2025. A lot has gone on this year. This year was an election year. We went through the elections successfully. Ghana didn't burn. We didn't break out into any form of civil war. Of course, our elections was characterized by the pockets of violence here and there, but by and large, it was pretty successful elections. Ghanaians have spoken. Ghanaians have voted their MPs and voted their presidents. And from the 7th of January, that president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is going to be taking over from His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. That has been one of the biggest highlights for this year 2024. But of course, quite a lot has happened. And in terms of the public service space, some people were awarded yesterday by the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, including the vice president, including Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, including, some people from civil society, some people from other government agencies and institutions, some journalists, some members of parliament, about other things. All of them were awarded, for example, the vice president, like I was telling you, was given, one of the highest awards, right? The vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, was decorated with Ghana's highest order, which is the Order of the Star of Ghana Officer Award, right? Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh was awarded. Like I've told you, Honorable Hawa Kumsin of Ewutu Senya East was awarded as well. And I've been telling you that those in the Ewutu Senya East constituency, the NDC in the Ewutu Senya East constituency, say that they do not agree with the award that was given to the Honorable Mavis Hawa Kumsin because they believe that she does not deserve the award. I'll read a bit of, that statement that was issued by the NDC for Ewutu Senya East. So it says, the NDC Ewutu Senya East condemns President Akufo-Addo for rewarding Hawa Kumsin's atrocities. And the NDC in the Ewutu Senya East constituency is expressing its outright disgust and condemnation for President Akufo-Addo's appalling decision to reward Hawa Kumsin, the outgoing MP for Ewutu Senya East, with a Public Service Award. This act is a brazen affront on the principles of democracy and an endorsement of barbarity and mockery of justice. Hawa Kumsin epitomizes violence, lawlessness, and incompetence. Her legacy is steeped in blood and terror, making her unfit to be celebrated in any capacity. This is the same individual who in 2020 shamelessly fired gunshots at a voter registration center in Kaswa, recklessly endangering the lives of innocent people, sowing fear among residents. Her appalling actions were disgraceful, and it was an attempt to subvert Ghana's democracy and remain an indelible stain on the nation's history. As if the travesty was not enough, her penchant for violence escalated to catastrophic levels during the 2024 elections. Under her reign of terror, 2 innocent lives were brutally snatched away in cold blood during a heinous shooting incident in the 2024 elections. And they go on and on to, catalog some of the things that Hawa Kumsin has done that they believe does not make her deserve any award, right? So they go on to say that the NDC in the Ewutu Senya East will not tolerate this disgraceful attempt to whitewash Hawa Kumsin's atrocities. We vehemently condemn this reprehensible award and demand an immediate revocation. We call on all patriotic Ghanaian civil society organizations and international bodies to join us in rejecting this flagrant glorification of violence and impunity. So this was signed by the communications officer for the Ewutu Senya East constituency, Delali Sewokbo. So they don't agree with Mavis Hawa Kumsin's award. But there were quite a number of others who were awarded. And so if you're minded and you were watching, the Ghana National Awards, let us know what your thoughts are on that. And of course, it's getting to 2025. And so we also want to find out from you, what the highlights of the year was for you as far as this year under review is concerned, and what do you want to see moving forward in 2024? And of course, for the people that were awarded, who do you think deserves it, and who do you think does not deserve the awards that were given by the president? So, the Ghana Armed Forces, for example, was awarded. The Ghana Armed Forces, represented by Lieutenant General Opon Pepra, the Chief of Defense Staff, received an award for their unwavering dedication to safeguarding the nation's borders against external threats. The Ghana Police Service, represented by IGP Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, was recognized for its critical role in maintaining law and order across the country and contributing to peace and stability. The Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences was honored for its significant role in the COVID-19 pandemic. The Academy provided real-time data, modeling, and advocacy that guided national response, effectively mitigating the virus's impact. The United Nations Development Programme, that's the UNDP, was also recognized for its impactful contributions to Ghana's development, particularly in advancing sustainable development initiatives and fostering international cooperation. China-Africa Development Fund was also awarded. The International Organization for Migration was also awarded. The Ghana Immigration Service was also awarded, commended for their instrumental role in managing Ghana's borders and facilitating legal migration, contributing to national security and socio-economic growth. And the Ghana Prison Service, was also awarded, right, for what they have done with regard to safeguarding our prisons, recognized for their contributions to the rehabilitation and reintegration of inmates into society. So at the awards yesterday, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo told the awardees that they should strive for higher heights, right? President Akufo-Addo urged Ghanaians to draw inspiration from the achievements of the honorees celebrated at the Ghana National Award ceremony to commit to building a prosperous and inclusive nation. So the president wants us to take lessons from the lives and the achievements of these individuals who have been awarded. Let me just activate the phone lines now. We'll get the numbers at the bottom of the screen, and we'll get a few of your calls in. And let's hear from you. I mean, we're ending the year 2024. The national awards that were given, to the vice president, to Napo, to Howard Kumston, to the prison service, to Erastus Asare-Donko, to other civil society groups and all of that. Do you agree with the awards? And of course, what were the highs and what were the lows for you for the year 2024? We are ending the year. We're ending the year 2024. One of the biggest highs for me, personally, like I've mentioned, is the fact that we had a successful election, right? We had a successful election, and Ghanaians spoke, and the will of the people was emphatic, and it is going to be respected. And unfortunately, there were the loss of some lives. At the end of the day, Ghana didn't, because this was a very, very highly anticipated and keenly contested election, right? But at the end of the day, Ghana is peaceful. So that's one of the biggest highlights for me this year. But let's hear from you. Good morning to our first caller. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Lantam. Good morning and Merry Christmas.
Many happy returns. Great to have you. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and talk to us.
My name is Obed. I'm calling from Sinte.
All right. Talk to us.
Let me say I'm happy with the award to Erasmus. I think that is the award that makes sense. And if the president is going to make life of Howard and the rest, I think it's a problem. Now we have to emulate the lives of people like Howard. I wonder what kind of life that makes the people to live. Have a happy new one and
All right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. And he said congratulations to Erastus, but if people like Howard Kumston are being awarded, he doesn't think that these are individuals that we should emulate in society. Interesting. Let's also hear from you. You can see the numbers there right at the bottom of the screen. So give us a call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
My name is Nana Kumasa Krampa II.
Nana Kumasa Krampa II.
Yes, I'm from Go something in the central region of Ghana.
Right. Nana, let's hear you.
I just want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I just want to say thank you, God, for protecting me, my family, and the entire Gomasin traditional, especially to our Parliamentary for
Okay. Is that all you're going to say?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for your call, Nana, calling us from the central region. Thank you. All right. Let's go to our next caller. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for calling us. What's your name? Where are you calling us from? I can hardly hear you. If you can reposition yourself so that we can have a very clear line and hear what you're saying to us clearly. We're getting quite some feedback from your end. So kindly reposition yourself and talk to us. Hello, are you there? Okay, we seem to have lost that caller there on the line. But of course, you can also give us a call and then we can hear what you have got to say this morning here on the show. Hello, good morning. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, great to have you on the show. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Community 1, Tema.
All right, and your name?
My name is Kokwenchi.
Kokwenchi. Talk to us.
Yeah. Yes. My difference. I just send a milk to everybody, our listeners who are listening to this program. So Nana Akufo-Addo, we've done everything, we do everything. But what is done, should that according to the previous administration of MPP, you see, they done well. Administration of MPP, they done well. Too much work. Right, Nana Akufo-Addo did all these things. But I know that they are going to talk about all these problems. They are going to talk. They are going to talk, especially these people. They are going to talk. So, me appealing to the public because what Nana Akufo-Addo administration they done well. This they are for 8 years. You see any embarrassment of any administration, the minister. You see any, they are everybody comfort. They are comforting themselves. They work hard to help the Kenyans to achieve their goals. But unfortunately, they ended with this thing, started loss. But you come back, they still organize here, the administration people. So, Nana Akufo-Addo, what I'm saying here is Nana Akufo-Addo is done well. He's done well. What he's done is 100%.
All right.
No doubt.
All right. Very well. Thank you. Thank you so much for your call and thank you for sharing your thought with us. He believes that the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, has done very well and his ministers and all those around him have also done very well. What are your thoughts? Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
My name is Apasi. I'm calling from Abra.
Okay, talk to us.
Yeah, Nado and but not all at all. If they are pretty, they are down and he's giving an award to go down. Go to our political constituency. What has he done? Let's forget about that one first. Come to police service. Yes, Nado himself has done nothing there. Police service, even when he is in the office. It's in office. There's not giving police service nothing. Even yesterday, there are a lot of issues. This service is giving. So if you are saying about let's see the people there, one after the other, and check where they are from. And see that they deserve any award. Look at our constituency. There's fight everywhere. People are dying there. We are giving the tax person an award. It is possible. You want the Ghanaian and citizen, when you are not spectators, we should be happy that somebody has killed somebody, is getting an award on the presidency. 6%. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your call to us here on the show today. Well, our Kumsi is not the only person who was awarded. John Peter Mawu, Brian Champong, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, Godfred Dame, Francis Asenso Boachi, Abu Jinapo, Dr. Duchum. I mean, all of these, ministers of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo were given, various awards for public service, that they've done in the past 8 years for the country. Hello, good morning. Yes, thank you very much for joining us. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and speak up a bit for us. I can hardly hear you. Hello, are you there? Hello? Okay, I can hardly hear that caller. You may want to call back. Hello? All right, to our next caller. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, and how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
God is in control.
It is well. It is well. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
I'm Christian Amatasi from Sapema.
All right, Christian, talk to us.
Well, I am happy that Ghana is still united, despite the challenges that we've gone through. My message to Ghanaians, especially the youth, is that Ghana will still exist without them. So they should be calm and prepare themselves for opportunities that are ahead of them. Some of them are misbehaving. Some of them are lawless and indisciplined. So my advice to all the youth is that the laws of Ghana will deal with all those who think they can just do things without recourse to the laws of the land. What we just witnessed in the last election is something we have to put a stop to. It doesn't augur well for our development. The international community is watching us. So please, my advice once again is that the youth should take time and prepare themselves so that when opportunities come, they can take advantage of those opportunities. I wish you well.
All right, we wish you well too, and thank you very much. I will talk to our very last caller. Mutala Inusa is here in the studio, and we'll get into the details of what we can expect in court today, especially as far as the the disputed parliamentary elections are concerned. Hello to our last caller. Good morning to you. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Great to have you on the show. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Tamale. My name is Jabari.
Jabari in Tamale. Talk to us.
Yes, from Sanarugu.
From Sanarugu. Great to have you. Talk to us.
This our president is the worst president that we have in Ghana. Hello?
I can hear you.
This is the worst president that we have in Ghana. Because the award that is given to those people that who awarded the award that he gives to them, no. Those the people who stole our money and misused it. So the president doesn't do well at all. So we pray that's why we voted them out. So that's what I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for calling us. He believes the president didn't do well for giving the people that he gave awards. Okay. All right. Thank you very much to all of you for calling us. We really appreciate you calling us on this last day of 2024, the 31st of December. We will wrap up the Inside Out segment here. When we return, Mutala Inusa will be joining me for court today. But of course, once again, thank you very much for calling us and letting your contributions come to us here on GH Today. This is it for Inside Out. With the details. Captain, good morning.
Good morning, Lantam. Good to see you. Today is 31st December.
Yes.
2024.
Yes.
Good to see you. Yes.
It's been great seeing you throughout the entire year.
It's not been an easy
always doing courts today.
Absolutely. But with all
and always updating us.
Yes.
Being a friend, being a brother, being a colleague.
You are such a wonderful
It's good to see you on this day. That's at the very last day.
That's why I'm shaking.
Charlie.
You have served Ghanaians well.
Don't I deserve an award?
You do.
You should give me an award.
Yesterday you should have been recognized. Especially with your latest hairstyle.
Thank you.
No, of course, you deserve it.
You should have been given an award.
All of us.
But you got an award this year.
Yeah, this year I got an award.
You got a GHOne award,
absolutely.
Right? For being, the best correspondent or the best reporter.
It's good to be recognized courts, right? In line of duty. So throughout the year is one of the highlights for me. Yeah, it's been a very eventful year, of course. Up and downs and all of that. You see a lot of hassles in court and all that. It came with consequences, assault and actually. But
through it all, you've made it.
God is great.
Salute for Mwaku's people assaulting you, all the ups and downs. Through it all, just in your line of duty.
The most important thing is that we have life and a morning like that.
Yes.
31st December 2024.
Yeah.
With just few hours to 2025.
Yeah,
of course.
Few hours to 2025. We are grateful to God.
And grateful to all our viewers who have made time to stay with us throughout the difficult moment they were with us and all of this. We really appreciate all of them,
Yes. And they also appreciate you for always updating us
on whatever
very nicely on whatever happens in court, right? And speaking of that, let's get right on into it, shall we?
Yeah.
Beginning with the national honors that we have already been talking about. So yesterday the president gave out some awards.
Yes.
I've been mentioning some of the names of the people who received awards. From Brian Champong to Amakwanta to Godfrey Dami, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice being given an award.
Yes.
And I believe that the former CJ, Enini Ebua, he was also given an award, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, so like you mentioned yesterday, we all saw it on screen. Those who were present also saw it live. And it's all about the national honors, those that the president think that they deserve to be rewarded. But conspicuously missing, I didn't see the deputy ministers or they are not part of the government, or
it's only the main minister being awarded. I didn't see the deputy minister.
People were asking, why is Alan Tremantin? Because it was part of the government from the beginning until
he was minister for trade and industry.
Yes.
Free Akuto. Planting for food and jobs. Is it not the one who was doing planting?
But one district, one factory.
That's what I'm saying. So Free Akuto was agric minister until he decided to contest for president.
Okay.
Or for flag bearer of the MPP.
Absolutely.
And then Alan Tremantin was also minister for trade. And this.
So maybe they could share.
He was given an award. He wasn't given an award. But Brian Champon, the one who took over from
Alan got it.
No. Brian Champon took over from Free
Akuto.
Yeah,
but both of them got it.
Brian Champon got an award.
Yes, Free Akuto also got an award. So I think
Alan should have gotten an award.
Yeah, Alan should have gotten an award because he was part of the government right from the beginning until he decided to go for the butterfly.
So you think you are being mischievous?
No, not at all.
Okay,
so like you mentioned, some persons within the legal system have not been left out in this whole national honors, and like you mentioned, the former Chief Justice Kwesi Enin-Yeboah also got some recognition in relation to all of that. And yesterday, when you watch the awards, you note that personalities that you can think of, especially within this administration, there were some fine gentlemen, a lot of personalities, and some of them you've been hearing the names, but of course you've not even had the opportunity to see them one-on-one. You've been seeing all of them. Fremont Parry, all of them got an award last night. But our focus on court today is in relation to the legal sector, and let's be asking, Justice Enin-Yeboah, the former Chief Justice, was recognized, but I want to find out what award did he get. Let's hear him.
Public Service, the Honorable Godfred Yeboah Dame.
I'd like to bring on stage now Justice Enin-Yeboah. Your timeless effort is defined not only by your judicial acumen, but also by your dedication to public service and community leadership. You have served in various capacities, including as chairman of the Judicial Service Committees, representative on the Constitutional Review Commission, and board chairman of the Council for Law Reporting. Your leadership of reforms, projects, and policy initiatives has strengthened the legal and judicial landscape of Ghana. You stand as a paragon of judicial leadership, a mentor to many, and a beacon of hope for those who seek justice. Your contributions to law, governance, and sports administration has indeed left an indelible mark on Ghana and the world, and your enduring legacy will continue to inspire generations to come. In recognition of your dedicated service to Ghana, sir, the Republic of Ghana confers on you Justice Enin-Yeboah, the State Honor of the Order of the Star of Ghana member.
Justice Enin-Yeboah.
Yes, Star of Ghana member. That was an outstanding recognition there. So he also got his name cemented in the history of the country, especially when it has to do with justice delivery in this country. Within the last 3-4 appointments, 3 female justices have come and gone. In fact, we have the third one in between. We have Justice Kwesi Enin-Yeboah, who retired a little over a year ago, and he got recognized in this whole.
What about Sophia Akufo's?
Sophia Akufo's tenure
wasn't very long.
I during the time that her tenure, and we didn't have an award in. I think those awards normally come when the president is leaving the office. Is that not so? But I remember
at the end of the year.
President
you
Kufuor,
remember President Kufuor?
Yes, I remember President Kufuor. That was the first time that I
you saw a president awarding himself.
I didn't say that. Did he award himself?
Yeah, President Kufuor awarded himself.
He did. Yeah. He gave himself.
Yeah, he gave himself an award.
But we didn't see that about Kufuor.
No, we didn't see President Kufuor, but President Kufuor awarded himself.
If you're not,
I don't remember.
If you're not awarding him, and I think
he
that
awarded himself.
Well, but
you don't remember?
There's a committee. I still have to refresh my mind.
President Kufuor is on record to have given himself an award.
He's a big man.
Yeah. President Kufuor gave himself an award.
The White House, Nana Akufo-Addo don't give himself.
Maybe Nana Akufo-Addo didn't think that he should give himself an award.
I heard the MC
but President Kufuor felt that he did well, and so he should give himself an award.
They said I heard the MC Jerry Ajololo saying that the greatest Ghanaian of our time. It's an official award to
the greatest Jerry Ajololo, the MC, decided to give President Akufo-Addo an unofficial award.
Absolutely, the greatest Ghanaian of our time. Yes.
His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo.
Adodi,
the greatest Ghanaian of our time.
That's a great, big.
Yeah, congratulations to Adodi.
So yesterday he recognized though that he's been working with, and you mentioned how Akumsin, a lot of messages are coming.
Yeah, people don't think how Akumsin should get an award.
Well, it depends on what the president thinks that she put her. Public order award. She put her somewhere, and he thinks that she's delivered to his expectation and all that. Like you mentioned, so not only the former Chief Justice, the Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame also has his name cemented. But let's hear, what did Godfred Yeboah-Dame get yesterday?
Public Service, the Honorable Godfred Yeboah-Dame. On the international stage, you have represented Ghana with distinction, advocating for legal and justice reforms within global platforms. Your expertise and leadership in shaping international legal agreements and frameworks have enhanced Ghana's role in global legal affairs and reinforced the country's commitment to upholding international law. You have been a key player in government's efforts to ensure that Ghana's legal institutions operate efficiently and impartially, upholding the principles of justice and equality for all. In recognition of your dedicated service to the nation, the Republic of Ghana confers on you Honorable Godfred Yeboah-Dame, the State Honor of the Order of the Volta Member.
Order of the Volta Member.
Absolutely.
Godfred Yeboah-Dame,
the Attorney General and the Minister for Justice of the Republic of Ghana.
Yes, under
the term of Nana Akufo-Addo.
President Akufo-Addo
throughout the year, it's not been an easy year for him. Of course, you note the ambulance case. There were a lot of issues that came out.
Richard Jackpers,
yes,
accusations.
Absolutely. So he's just a strong man. So I'm sure that if you have to go through torrid times like this, you have to weather the storm.
So because of that, they should give you an award.
I'm not saying it's because of that. I'm just trying to recall some of the moments, some of the hard times that he had to go through in the course of the year. And there were a lot of times that he also, in terms of cases before the court where the office of the Attorney General will have to fight and be successful. There's been quite a number of them that also came out, especially when it has to do with arbitration of cases. You note that at one point in time, the president was in Parliament and said the AG's office have saved Ghana over 10 trillion. I guess absolutely. Yes, and all of them came, and then we had so many discussions and all of that. So yesterday he was recognized. In the eyes of the president, he's done so well and all that, need some recognition and all that. But one person who, when you come to the legal fraternity, has been very, very, very instrumental. He's everywhere. When you speak to a lot of young lawyers, they speak so highly of him. They tell you so much about him, and somebody that you love to meet. When it comes to national issues, he doesn't hide his views and all that. And he's a national Council of State member as well. And guess who I'm referring to? Sam Okudzeto. Yesterday, he was also recognized. Let's hear the kind of recognition he got.
I'd like to now bring on stage Mr. Sam Okudzeto, Esquire. Your lasting impact extends to professional associations, having served as president of the Ghana Bar Association, the Association of Recognized Professional Bodies, and the Bible Society of Ghana internationally. You have been honored as an honorary life member of the International Bar Association and have contributed to the Commonwealth Lawyers Association and the American Bar Association.
So some of Kujeto they awarded.
Yes.
So these are the awards for the legal fraternity, right?
There more, but these are few of them who were recognized yesterday.
So before we wrap this up, today we're expecting some cases to go back to the High Court.
Yes.
Because the Supreme Court directed that a mandamus application with regard to some of the parliamentary election results, Okaikoi and all of those places.
Throughout my stay at the court, covering court proceedings, I don't remember the very last time that on the 31st of December, I have to cover a case from the court, but today it is possible because we are going to the High Court in relation to 4 constituencies: Ablekuma and North Constituency, Okaikoi Central, Tama Central, and of course Techiman Central, all in relation to some mandamus application filed by some MPP parliamentary candidate, and based on a decision that had been taken by the Supreme Court last week. And so the parties are back in court. Yesterday, the NDC parliamentary candidate involved in this disputed election results all filed their affidavit in opposition, and in effect what they are saying is that an election that has been collated and declared is complete. It cannot be redeclared. If the party who lost the election is not aggrieved, go to the court and challenge the process. You don't ask for a recollation and a redeclaration. So today, before the High Court, there's going to be an interesting submission in relation to that. So expect more in court today, being the last day of 2024, December 31. Interesting.
Very well. Thank you very much. Mutala Inusa there bringing us the latest from court. I'm pretty sure much later on we'll be coming to you to give us some more updates on our news bulletin
will be in court.
With regard to what's happening in court today. So that will do it for court today. Stay tuned. When we return, we've got an interesting conversation coming up. We're putting the 2024 elections under review. The man who accurately predicted the outcome of the 2024 elections, the man from Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa, will be here in the studio and we'll get to talking. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. by the NPP and the EC. Our man on the ground, Murtala Inusa, will be giving us a report, on that. So that is still outstanding. But by and large, we all know the outcome of the 2024 elections. And the man from Global Info Analytics You're welcome back to the show. This is still GH Today here on GHOne Television, and Musa Dankwa is here in the studio. Musa Dankwa is from Global Info Analytics. I'm pretty sure you already know because they correctly called the 2024 elections, and it was spot on. Musa, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
We're surviving by His grace.
Surviving. It's good to see.
Oh, we're doing very well.
Okay, all right.
By His grace, yes.
That's fine. That's good to know. We're surviving. How has 2024 been for you?
No, 2024 was very interesting year for us and the team at Global Info Analytics. It was a challenging one, but we stood up for the challenge, and I think we excelled in the challenge through at us. And I'm thankful to all of those who supported us through words of encouragement, and also those guys in the field who dedicated themselves to doing this job. Some actually got involved in accidents along the way, doing
the polling and
doing the polling. Some got snake bites,
Wow.
Yeah, people went into the hinterlands. Some were using ferry canoes to cross all over the place.
Just to get the data.
Just to get the data. And I don't think they deserve a lot of commendation.
They deserve awards.
I have to award them.
Yes, you have to award them. They deserve some good awards. I mean, and this year you did quite a number of polls, right?
Several polls. There are some that we do and we don't even talk about them.
Yeah.
So it's quite several. In fact, in terms of the field face-to-face polls with voters nationally, we've done about 6 or so of them, and then the telephone polls were quite many. In the last, I think, 6 or 8 weeks, we focused on telephone polls, and we were sampling about 2,500 or so every week.
People had problems. There are a few people who had problems with your sampling and your sample size, and they were calling you out and questioning your sample size, saying it's not an accurate representation of the entire population. Because how can you explain that for us? How are you able to get accurate data or an accurate reflection or representation of what the generality of people feel with the sample size that you're working with?
When it comes to sampling, the theory is that the bigger the better, but not when you have tons of information that you can narrow down the sampling size and still be accurate. What we did was that over the 2 or so 3 years, we knew what proportion of voters say they are NDC nationally, what proportion say they are MPP, floating voters, other parties, and those who don't tell you their party affiliation. What we did was that we drew a sample from this sample.
Okay.
So, for example, we said, okay, let's interview 35% of our sample from the MPP stocks, 32% from NDC stock, 20% from floating voters, 3% from others, and maybe 10% from those who don't tell us.
Right.
We have all this data. So if we are interviewing 7,000, we allocate 35% of that 7,000 to MPP people.
Okay.
32 to NDC. But because we have done this work for a very long time, we're able to bring the sample down to 2,500 a week and still apply that percentage to that 2,500 constantly. And when we've done the allocation for MPP, we then ask ourselves, where should we allocate this 35%? Because we know that most MPP supporters are in Ashanti region, followed by Greater Accra, Eastern, Central, in that order. We then allocate this 35% the regions based on where we know there are more MPP voters in that order.
Okay.
So we first do this party affiliation and then also allocate based on where we can find most MPP people. So when we are calling MPP people in Ashanti region, we say we're going to call about 25% of the 35% from Ashanti region. Because on the average, that number of MPP people live in Ashanti region.
So that's how you're able to, come up with, because
exactly.
So you already have the figures.
Exactly.
Of all the
and
people,
then to make
and then you're able to narrow it down.
Absolutely. And then to apply randomness, random probability sampling.
Okay.
We have tons of MPP people in the Ashanti region. Do we call all of them? No. We dial up the number that we have randomly. So nobody knows what number will come up.
So it's not the same every time. It's not the same people every time.
No, we have a pool.
You have a pool, but it's not. It's done at random.
At random.
Yeah.
So when you pick any random number for Ashanti region, their MPP, their views will be the same. Whether they're from Bantama or they are from Nshiesu or Kwabere East. Look, so this data is quite rich, and we do it regularly every week. The number wasn't changing. The differences were just 1% here and there. So we knew we were doing something right. And then when we compared that telephone polling data with times when we interviewed 7,000 or 10,000, there wasn't much difference. So when people were shouting about sample size, we were just laughing at them. It's not about the volume of sample, but the quality of how you deploy the sample.
Right.
Whether the sample represents the people that you're talking to. If you look at in the US or in the UK, where they have over 150 million voters, or maybe 50 million voters thereabout, the sampling for this American population is probably about 3,000, sometimes 7. The highest I've seen is 6,000 in America. America of all people. If they're getting it right,
millions,
and we are here shouting that our sample size is small when we are about 18.something million. So it's not about the volume. You can just do 300,000 sample. If you don't make sure that those 300,000 are well represented across the country, you get a skewed result. That's why most people got everything wrong.
But you got it right. And we witnessed also in the election that we had people like, Alan Chemanting polling about 2%, Cheddar polling about 3.something%. But in the end, their figures went down significantly. But those of the NDC and the MPP, like you mentioned, was quite spot on. So what happened? What happened to Alan Chemanting and Cheddar, who are showing very strongly?
Prior to the poll, we've been saying that GM always outperformed the polling numbers in the election. He always does. And NDC always does. If you poll NDC and they are 25%, you can say that you could add 3% to that 25%.
Right.
By custom. Remember, Sir John once said that he doesn't know where NDC vote comes from. On election day, you see the numbers coming. Because people who normally intend to vote for GHOne or NDC, sometimes they hide their true intention. But in this particular election, what happened was that, look, I believe, and after talking to people post-election, there were people who were going to vote for Alan Chemanting and Bediakon as a protest vote.
That's what they had intended.
Intended to vote, yes. So the poll prior to the election was accurate. What happened? If you look at the poll we did on election day, the exit poll, about 8% of voters made up their mind in the last 4 weeks of the election. The last 4 weeks. Now, these were the people who shifted from Alan Chemanting and Bediako to Mahama. Those who decided at the last minute who to vote for, they broke heavily for Mahama. When we inquired a bit, I think there was a bit of apprehension on people's part.
Apprehension?
Yes. And suspicion.
Okay.
People had somehow come to the conclusion that the EC was up to something. Rightly or wrongly.
But people had the perception. That the EC was up to something.
Yes.
For this coming election.
Absolutely. And also they didn't understand why the MPP was getting more confident when they realized that, look, this should be obvious that you're going to lose.
But the MPP were pretty confident.
So people were thinking, is it a coincidence or something is somewhere in somebody's sleeves? So those who were thinking of voting for Alan and Chemanting did not want any election that could be close, for there to be any chaos.
So they just decided to go for the NDC.
Who were decided at the last 4 weeks went away from Alan and Cheddar and went straight to Mahama.
Because they felt that,
yes, they want to avoid any confusion.
I don't want to vote for a candidate who is not going to win anyway. So let me just
throw the country into pandemonium.
Yeah, so let me just go and give it to John Mahama.
Yes.
Right, so that's what happened.
That's what happened, yes, that's what happened.
Wow.
We know that from the exit polls.
So let's get into, some of the cases that are still outstanding. There are 9 parliamentary seats seemingly which are still outstanding, right? 7 of them were redeclared for the NPP, right? 7 of them were redeclared for the NPP. And the NDC went to court, to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court allowed 3 to stay. In those 3, there was no collation that was, completed. And so the collation was done and those results were declared. So the Supreme Court says that stays. But then the 4, which were re-declared, if I should put it that way, recollated and redeclared after they had earlier been declared, the Supreme Court says that is null and void. Go back, hear the mandamus application at the High Court and all of that. What did the Dambes say in each of these 9 constituencies before elections? From Nsawama Dredri to Okai.
In Nsawama Dredri, the poll shows that Anandampa was going to win.
Okay. And he's won. He's been declared.
He's been declared winner. Yeah. So I wasn't quite surprised with that number. It doesn't matter what argument people put up, but the poll area had showed he was going to win. But the win is quite narrow compared to what the poll was suggesting. If you look at Tema Central, for more than 6 months, the poll shows they were losing Tema Central.
It showed that the NPP were losing
Tema Central. And if you look at Dome Kwabinya, the poll shows they were losing Dome Kwabinya. If you look at Ablekumanov, the poll shows they were losing. The only constituency that showed they were winning was Okaikwe Central.
Okaikwe Central. That's Patrick Yabuama's constituency. The one Baba Sadiq,
absolutely,
says he's won.
That was what the polls were saying. But on the election day, when we did the exit poll, the polls showed that NDC was likely to win Okaikwe Central in the exit poll.
The exit poll?
Yes.
The last poll that was
done on the election day. When people had voted and they were going, we spoke to them. That poll showed NDC was winning Okaikwe Central. And then the poll showed NDC was winning Ablekumanov. It showed they were winning Dome Kwabinya and they were winning Tema Central. Really? So there were so many evidence from data that showed that those seats actually probably they lost them.
Except for Nsawama Dredri. So out of the 9, apart from Nsawama Dredri,
the other 2 which is it Ahwano?
Yes, there's Techiman South.
The Techiman South, in fact,
there's Techiman South.
The Techiman South, the poll shows that Ajimesa Kosa was going to win with the narrow.
Okay, he was going to retain it.
Yes.
But it was going to be a narrow one.
A narrow one, yes.
I see. So, did it come as a surprise to you, some of those that were, redeclared for the NPP?
Yes, I was surprised. Honestly, I was surprised. Really, Tema Central and Ablekumanov and which else was that? I don't know why they were.
Well, they are still trying to
if you look at where they're saying that they should be rerun in that polling station, NDC won that polling station on the night with almost 66% of the vote. So there's no way you're going to win.
The declaration was done.
Look, I think what EC was done is unthinkable. Honestly speaking.
You think what the EC has done is unthinkable?
No, unthinkable. Because
they believe that there were some irregularities.
No, they are saying that they say the wrong form. No, say the wrong form was used. That's the case for that constituency. A wrong form. Those who signed the forms were alive. They haven't died. And nobody had disputed those numbers. All they needed to do was to pick the right form, complete the forms again using those figures, and ask for re-signing. This is akin to causing financial loss to the state. Frankly, it defies. It's mind-boggling, the approach there, because there was no act of illegality, or is using the wrong form an act of illegality. No. So I don't know how they come to that conclusion, but only God knows.
So, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in court today, but let's say the courts were to, for example, order a rerun in some of the constituencies.
MPP will lose all of them.
Rerun.
MPP will lose all of them.
You believe so?
Yes.
The MPP will
See,
lose.
the psychology of voter,
if there was a rerun.
The psychology of voter is very complicated. Do you know why would they have to bring the parliamentary and the presidential election on the same day? You know why? Because when people had voted for the presidential, and a party A has won the presidential, they tend to give the parliamentary to that party.
Because they've already won. That's why they do it on the same day.
So the psychology of voter is, okay, if NDC has already won the presidential and have this number, why should I go and waste my time, give a vote to an opposition? So the psychology of the voter doesn't support MPP in this case if they were rerunning.
So if the courts were to say, let's rerun, these constituencies.
And also you have the issue of apathy. Who is more energized to go and vote again? Is it NDC or MPP?
So it will not.
You have to even drag them to go and vote in the first place. And going back again, Masa, it will require bulldozer.
So it will not inure to the benefit.
No. Psychologically, it won't.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, was your team able to undertake its own collation during the elections?
No, that's not our job.
Okay, you just did the polling.
That's not our job. No,
you didn't collate any results, whatsoever.
No.
So when did the signs begin to become very clear, that the NDC was going to win? How early?
For us, around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Remember we were doing exit poll?
Yes. So around 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
We knew NDC was winning, yes.
Before,
we
when the elections were still going.
Yes.
You knew that the NDC was going to win.
Yes.
And win with a huge margin.
Yes.
So it's not something that came, as a surprise.
No.
But even before the day of the elections, right? At the beginning of the year, or let's say even at the beginning of the second term, after we did the 2020 elections, right? At what point during the 4-year period did the tide begin to shift in favor of the NDC?
It was April 2022.
In 2022?
April 2022, when they passed the E-levy.
That's when the tide shifted?
Absolutely. Because in January poll that we did...
You did a poll around that time, with regard to the E-levy and all that.
Yes. In fact, in January, we did a poll, a hypothetical poll, between if it is Mahama against Baumia, if it's Mahama against Alan, who would you vote for? In January. And in that month, I think Mahama was 48% and Baumia 42%, below 50%. Now when they passed the E-levy, Mahama goes to 53%. Baumia, 38% in April 2022. How far was that result from what we saw now?
It was pretty accurate.
So almost 3 years ago. We have a trend data from that period all the way till now. You could see where the elections or the race was and where it ended. Clearly, it was lost over 3 years ago.
Is there anything that the NPP could have done to turn things around?
I think,
given the data and what the polls were showing.
I think the failure to remove Ken Ofori-Atta early enough didn't help MPP. When there was agitation for him to be removed, he overstayed his post. It cost MPP a lot.
So if the president had heeded to the calls of the MPs,
some confidence would have returned back to
Ken Ofori-Atta.
No, look.
But he eventually did.
Well, it was too late. When Amin Adam was brought in, there was a bit of stability and confidence returning into the financial sector and the economy of Ghana.
Yeah,
that should have been a long time ago.
So that was what. So from the E-levy, the passage of the E-levy to refusal to remove Ken Ofori-Atta.
Yeah.
Is
the whole country was calling for it, including MPP supporters.
Turning points began. So what role did things like corruption and corruption perception play? I mean, you did polls on that. The things that are of importance to Ghanaians, and I think the NCC did a poll on that. And some other agencies also did polls on that. The things that are of importance, and I know you also did polls on that: corruption, religion, the economy, and education and others. What role did all of these issues play in contributing to the outcome of the election?
I'll look at the key issues before the polls and on the day of the polling. Before the elections, it was the economy, number one issue, jobs, number two, education, number three. And I think corruption was around fifth or sixth.
Right.
It wasn't ranking high among the general voters. And on election day, it didn't change. But if you look at the demographic of people who are upper and middle and upper income voters, corruption was higher among those groups than
upper and
yes,
higher class
absolutely.
voters.
Some people came to vote because they felt there was too much corruption, and those numbers we didn't pick during the polling, but we saw that on the exit poll. We saw that the corruption has elevated on the day of election than it had been in the past. Remember, sometimes it's difficult to get certain demographic of voters when you are doing the polling. For example, people who are the upper class, you hardly get them to talk to them on the street when we go out there to speak to people. So at that point in time, I think we did a special poll of the upper class people, which means we have to adapt new ways of tracking who they were. So what we did was that we went to Marina Mall, Accra Mall, ANC Mall, and some places that we know people who are affluent come there and shop. So we were polling them from Lorry Park. So when you get down from your car, we see your car type, and then we engage you.
Okay.
So we're trying to profile them by the car they type, they drive. And we saw a different kind of...
See where they are.
Exactly. Generally, they were aligned with voters, but on certain issues, they differ. And they differ on corruption.
So corruption was that issue for them,
for
the
them,
middle
yes.
class,
Yes.
and then,
Yes.
the upper class.
Yes.
So what about religion? How much of a role did religion play?
This is a very tricky question. Sometimes we, as posters, we tend to delve into and trying to understand. When you put 10 issues and give them to a voter to pick 3, the most important, religion and ethnicity doesn't register. Because he's concerned about the economy, about the jobs, and education. So these are important issues for many, many people. Religion doesn't come up at all. But if you end it there, you could be misleading yourself. But what we have done recently is that we then tease religion and ethnicity out and ask them a question again. How important was religion of the candidate a factor in your decision? On this occasion, religion is a question on its own. Not to be confused with so many others. So on this score, then you see about 19% saying it was somehow important or very important, which is scary. 19%
of the voters.
Yes. Will say that religion is somehow important or very important. But when you mix religion with other things, then they downgrade.
But when you elevate religion and make it a standalone,
the same thing applies to ethnicity. Now the issue is, if religion, if economy, jobs, and education were not top ticket items, religion would have been elevated.
So it did play a significant role, the religion of the person.
When you use the back door, you will see it.
So how did it play to the advantage or disadvantage of, the candidates, the two main candidates who were involved? Because
let's
vice
be frank.
president, virtually almost always in church.
Let's be frank with the data and the facts. Bawumia lost the Muslim vote quite heavily to Mahama.
Why?
And he lost the Christian vote as well. So it was lost across board. But the magnitude was unprecedented. Now, if you look at the Muslim vote, there are about 4 sects within the Islam. The Sunnis, the Shia, the Ahmadiyya, Tijaniya. These are the 4 main blocks in Islam. Bawumia only does well in the Tijaniya. Normally, it does well among Tijaniya. At this time, he lost heavily from that group. More than he would have otherwise done in the Sunnah group. and Ahmadi group. You know, there were some fundamental mistakes Bawumia made personally, and then his campaign. You know, his over-visiting of the churches, they didn't go down well with the Christians themselves, because they felt that was opportunistic. And the Muslim felt that was a betrayal. Because you can go to church and take part in activities to a certain extent, to up to a certain point, beyond which a Muslim should not go. I think it went beyond that boundary. That didn't go down well. And also remember, there were issues around the Wesley girls and some Muslim students.
Yes, the wearing of the hijab. It came up.
He was very, very quiet. And as somebody who has lived in Zongos, I knew how they felt about that situation. And that really didn't help him. No.
Because this happened a long time ago.
Yes. The reason is that the people were telling me that, but he told us that if an issue come up that involves Muslims, he will be there to speak for us. Where is he? I couldn't answer them. You know, as poster, I also tend to go to local and speak to people to understand the numbers very well. What are the issues behind the numbers? And you hear from people's complaint some of the issues. And the first time I saw the big problem coming was when we polled Nima in the presidential. He got 6% in Nima.
6%.
I knew there was trouble.
Dr. Bawumia polled 6% when you did the polls in Nima.
Nima.
Wow.
And then after that, we did what we call the Zongo polls. We targeted constituencies with the bigger Zongo communities. We did Asawasi, we did Medina, we did Ayawaso East, Ayawaso North, we did Ashaiman. Some areas we knew have a big chunk of Zongo communities. And in that poll, Mahama was around 74%. That was last year, October or November, thereabout.
So Mahama was doing well.
So I knew
these areas.
The numbers for him among the Zongos would be terrible, long before the vote were cast. And if you look at the poll that we did, Nado did better among Muslims than Bawumia in the polls.
Dr. Bawumia did.
Yes.
Who is a Muslim himself.
Yes.
Wow. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other factors, right? So we talked about religion, but so what was the biggest factor influencing people's votes? The topmost.
Our current economic condition.
The economy.
Absolutely. Everybody, every demography, whether they were MPP or they were NDC, everybody was saying the current economic condition.
And that was the biggest factor.
That was the biggest factor.
That got people out there to go and vote.
Yes.
Now, what role did the running mates play, or what effect did the running mates have on this election for Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh and Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajiman? Did they add anything?
Before this election, I had always said that the 2024 election was going to be purely on the main candidates. And that the running mates will have little impact on the outturn of this election. For NDC, I think it was neutral. She didn't drive away voters because people were expecting that Mama would retain her. So whatever effect she had in the last election was still present now. She didn't create instability within the campaign. If they had changed her, there was a bit of instability in the campaign before you can settle down, probably lost some time. But that is not the same case for NAPO. Because you see, MPP and NDC, they have different problems. So you must look at your problem before you appoint running mate. But MPP did not really look at the issues critically before picking up NAPO.
But one would have imagined that NAPO was a strategic choice because you already have a candidate coming.
And now we know it's a blunder. Now we know it's a blunder.
And in their calculations, he's from the Ashanti region. He will appeal to the Ashanti region base. Is somebody who is a grassroots person and is loved by the grassroots. Is somebody who has links with Menchia, and we know the reverence that Ashantis have for Otumfuo and Menchia. So that was the calculation, right? Really to appeal to the base.
It was a wrong calculation. Because the polls have constantly showed that MPP's problem or DMB's problem has been among the evangelical voters, the Pentecostal voters, the charismatic church goers. They were his biggest problem. So if I was among the strategists, first and foremost, to pick a candidate who can appeal to this bloc, because between these two, they represent 40% of Christians in Ghana.
Apostle Opoku-Nyina's name came up.
We will come there. So first, identify your weakness. Your weakness was not Ashanti region. No. Your weakness was broader among the evangelical and Pentecostal voters. So look for somebody who can bridge that gap, who can make them feel at ease. At the same time, if you are able to identify an Ashanti who is evangelical and Pentecostal, that is a plus, isn't it? So they got the Ashanti right, but they forgot the second layer of the demography, the Pentecostals.
Right.
So for me, if nobody would have said that they won't vote for MP nationality because of GHOne, it's an Ashanti, right? They won't say that, oh, men too because of GHOne and no Onapo. No. He could have brought the Ashanti vote. Oboyena could have done the same if he was nominated, and again appeal wider beyond the Ashanti region among the Pentecostals, and also among floating voters. Look, floating voters did not like Napo one bit. The polls were showing, even
that Napo was not
among
liked.
MPP voters outside the Ashanti region, Napo wasn't popular. We did a poll in Dominic Abinya, Ablekumanov, Okankwe West, Okankwe South, Okankwe Central, Ablekuma West, Tema Central, Tema West, and we tested Napo's favorability in these areas. He was very unfavorable. These are MPP heartland in Greater Accra. So if he was not popular in Greater Accra, can you imagine everywhere else? And I really don't think they did a thorough job before they made that decision. I don't think so.
And was it because of some of his utterances?
In fact, the utterances came up later.
But
right.
generally there was a certain perception that
absolutely
didn't make him very likable.
And he didn't disappoint when he was nominated. He proved people right. And then again, look.
So the results have been more favorable if the MPP had a different candidate as vice president.
Look, I always use my head, not my heart, in taking decision. If you look at, let's say, the two candidates that MPP had in the last election, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Kennedy Japo, the polls at the time were showing that if you peg Mahama against Kennedy, the gap between the two narrows. If you peg Mahama against Bawumia, the gap widens. That was a hint to say that one of the candidates is weaker against the other. Once you know that, then you must find a way to kind of counter that negative effect that your main candidate was bringing. So they should have probably, after electing Bawumia, looked for a way to bridge the gap. Who can we nominate as a running mate to shore up the numbers so that this gap that we saw between Kennedy and Mahama probably is maintained or at best exceeded? I don't think that was done properly. But you see, the polls that were done, the hypothetical races, it gives you an insight as to what kind of challenges you could face if you elect Mr. A or Mr. B. In the same vein, when you match Mahama against Kennedy, then MPP does woefully in the northern sector. So there was no one solution that fits everything.
Okay.
So when you put Bawumia, he does bad in the Akan region. In the southern part.
But better in the north.
Better in the north.
And then
if you put Kennedy, he does better in the south and west in the north. The question is, where are the numbers? Are the numbers in the south or in the north? So when you use mathematics and your head, without any emotions, sometimes politics is a bit of, here and there, but the numbers cannot be wrong. The numbers are always right.
All right. Interesting stuff. Let's now talk about some of the constituencies that we're not expecting to fall. You know, you know, and some of the big names, you know, that fell, you know, in Parliament, from Ursula to Japamesa to Henry Quartey to Ambrose Derry, Katie Hammond, you know, all of them. Even Ayawaso West Wagon, you know.
Even Ayawaso West Wagon.
Which was?
This was the easiest one we knew.
Ayawaso West Wagon was seen as a stronghold.
It's not. It wasn't. What was the gap last time?
From Chairman Singe Jaco's time, before it was handed over to his wife,
that is the mistake.
Lydia Al-Hassan.
That is the mistake we have been doing in political analysis in this country. Look, the demography of voters have changed rapidly, even compared to 2016 elections.
Right.
So those who are holding on to those statistics and data, they are just misleading themselves. A lot has changed. And also, you have a situation where a candidate who has Invest of Ghana in her constituency.
Yes.
And then this biggest constituency, electoral area in the constituency, are not voting for her. I mean, certainly she will be in trouble.
So the campuses, Legon.
They just
Legon was for John.
Result for her. I mean,
Legon was for John Bello.
She won because in the last election, Legon was shut.
The students were not there. So a lot of them didn't vote.
They didn't vote.
But this time around,
they were there and they delivered their killer blow.
So what, was it that obvious that she was going to lose?
We knew she was going to lose long time. Long time. In fact, in the last election, 2020, the poll shows she wasn't going to win.
Okay.
But she won. Now, and this time around, you see that Dumelo is kind of a candidate who has kind of blended himself with the students.
Yes.
You know, they see him as kind of a mate. And there was no way they're going to vote for
Lydia Seram
Al-Hassan, no. I mean, that was obvious. I mean, people who were adding West were going to the surprises, I'm surprised they added the surprises.
I mean, because people felt that it was a stronghold.
What surprised me would have been the home seat. To be very honest, I didn't see. The polls showed that he was leading comfortably,
but it was close.
Yes, and I think, and we've been saying that if you do field poll very close to election, it tends to get distorted, because when people are giving the bribes in the community, giving money and sharing goodies, people tend to blend in, pretend they will vote for the person giving the inducement,
so that they can get some.
Exactly, and that's what we saw in this election. Yes. So the poll we did about 2 months before the election was more accurate, the one we did close to the election. Because of that.
Interesting stuff. So what about Eslowusu's constituency?
She was long gone. She was long.
What were the dynamics there that led to her?
No, she was very unpopular.
She was unpopular.
Very unpopular. And also, I think the SIM card registration, they carried it on her head.
You are not happy about how the SIM card registration went.
No. In fact, she paid for that price. Already she was unpopular in the constituency. And then some of the national issues really took her down.
So there was no way. So
no.
At what point in time was it clear that Ursula was not going to win?
In June.
By June?
Yes.
You knew that Ursula was not going to win
she wasn't going to win
that seat.
All the people who lost, we knew by June that they were not going to survive.
All those who lost?
Lost, that we anticipated, yes.
Henry Quartey.
No, he was long coming. Yeah. We did some 2 polls in his constituency. He was losing. He
was Greater Accra Regional Minister before he was moved to the Interior Ministry, right? And one would have imagined that Henry Quartey is somebody who would retain his seats, you know, because of the portfolios that he has filled and his seeming popularity among
remember
the voters in the Ayawaso area.
In Greater Accra,
yes,
the swing we saw before the election was about 35% from NPP to NDC, the swing, which meant that if in the last election you won by less than 35%, you are in trouble. Across the Greater Accra region, 35% of people who voted for MPP last time were voting for NDC candidates. That is why there were few survivors among MPP MPs in Greater Accra.
About 3 of them.
Yes, and those are the ones we knew that they were going to hold. In fact, we said on a very good day, they would have won Okayako Central, Trobu, Anyaso Tum, and Weja. These were the seats we thought. As for this one, the
MPP were going to
win. We're going to win them. Yes. The rest, we said
the rest were gone.
Yeah. When we mentioned Dominic Kwabena, they said we were mad.
Yeah, I mean, what?
No, I knew.
And what were the dynamics in Dom Kwabena?
Look, I live in Dom Kwabena.
Yeah, I live in Dom Kwabena too. I have said that Michael Quay to me was not very visible in the constituency as campaigning goes. But I don't know if that has got anything to do with Akurugu all over the place.
Look,
right?
It started with when Ajosafo was creating a fast in Parliament. Absentia without permission.
Yes.
We did a poll then, and we asked voters that if there should be a by-election, and because maybe people were saying she should be,
she should be kicked out of Parliament,
and then have to run again.
A by-election.
And so if this by-election, and Akurugu is the NDC candidate, and MPP presents Michael Quay, and Ajosafo goes as independent, who would you vote for? That was when we realized.
You did that poll?
Yes, in that poll. And then in that poll, Akurugu was 49%. Michael Quay was around 30%. Ajosafo was around 29%. Together, if you put their votes together, MPP should win Dominic Kwabena.
Yes.
And we put another scenario. Assuming Ajosafo doesn't go as independent, she withdraws, and Michael Quay and Akurugu goes head to head. Who would you vote for? You know what happens in that race? Akurugu 69%.
69%. That's what the polls were saying.
Yes. It means there were people who were Safo supporters who don't like Michael Quay. On any day, they won't vote for him. So 54% of those who were voting for Ajosafo were voting for Akurugu in the head-to-head. So that was a sign that something wasn't right. And indeed, when you look at the poll that we did, we look at certain constituencies critically. So certain electoral areas, Taifa North and Taifa South. When we knew what was happening there, we knew MPP was going to lose the seat. Because 45% of the winning margin of MPP in 2020 came from Taifa North and Taifa South. 45%. And in those electoral areas, in one of the polls, Akurugu was leading in Taifa North on head off. And Taifa South was close. And I said this race was lost. There's no way Michael Quay could win Dominic Kwabena without Taifa North and Taifa South.
Did the Christo Asafo, congregation play any role?
I've said that that church is not. They are loyal to their daughter and not to MPP. MPP took them to be MP supporters. No. The Christo Asafo church members were loyal to Safo Kantanka and his daughter. That loyalty doesn't go to automatically to any MPP MP. No. And that played out.
Did they go out to vote, or did they stay away from?
No, generally across the country there was lower turnout. Right? It wasn't just MPP people. There were people who were NDC floating voters and other people who didn't go out to vote.
And all of that contributed. And
but you see, lower turnout affects everybody.
I'll come to the issue of lower turnout, and the apathy and all of that, because there are some analysis that have been made in that area. So I want to know what you've got to say about that. But still staying on some of the people who lost. Katie Hammond also is one of the people who no one would have imagined would have lost his seat, but he did. What were the dynamics there?
Katie came close to losing his seat in 2012. I think was close and he won it. 2016 he kind of.
2016 he won comfortably in 2016.
And now that he got ministerial position, he lost it.
Well, that was at the end, he was minister for about a year or so.
Master, you think a year in politics is something small? I think people became a bit not comfortable with the way he was speaking, his antics, and the general youth integration whenever he had the chance. And the country with younger voters. You can't tell it. Things like that. They won't do you.
So that's what happened to Katie Hammond, in that. What about the Sisala East constituency?
Oh, that was
Chinia.
Anybody who knows Sisala East.
Chinia did some good work in the constituency.
Look.
In terms of taking care of the people and all. So one would have imagined that
I think he won the seat because there was division in NDC at the last election. And when there was no division in NDC around this time around, there was no way it was going to survive. And also, look, a lot of the MPs who lost their seat, they lost because of the national issues. The issues were too big for them to carry on their shoulders. Economy, what can you do as Kenya in Central East? Jobs, education, you are powerless. So people will represent the sins of the father onto you, the son.
So people didn't really separate, the issues of
this is what we call
MP,
absolutely,
and the president. People didn't do that.
What we call the down ballot effect. When it's voting against the flag bearer, it's voting against your MP.
Wow.
If it's voting for Mahama, voting for his candidate, even if they are not performing MPs, they get the vote.
Wow.
So under normal circumstances, you could see that some of the NDC MPs could have lost. But because the issues that were at stake was really huge national issues. And people have seen how this parliament has worked. Now they can't afford to give Mahama some slim majority, otherwise he won't sleep.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, we don't want to have this kind of issues with the next parliament. So they went straight and really delivered the killer blow.
Now let's talk about the regions, right? And you've already talked a little bit about the Greater Accra region and some of the polling that you did and what the results were saying. It's always said that anyone who is able to win the Greater Accra region usually would go on to win the national election. But in 2020, it wasn't so. In 2020, the NDC and John Mahama won in the Greater Accra region, and the MPP still went on to win the elections in 2020.
It's not about the win, but the margin.
The margin.
You can win by 5,000 votes. It's a win.
Yeah.
But it's not big enough. It's not material enough for you to use that to overcome certain losses elsewhere. So the margin is more important than just the win.
Right. So for the Greater Accra, I mean, there's a cosmopolitan, region where a lot of the issues are heavily, centered on. Was it very obvious from the beginning that it was going to be a repeat of what happened in 2020?
I think even MPP knew it.
They knew they had lost Greater Accra.
Yeah, so when you hear their comment, as for Accra, we have lost, but we are doing it, we are doing there, we are doing there. But you see, the votes have come to Greater Accra now. Greater Accra has the largest voting population in the country today.
Yeah.
You can't afford to perform miserably in Greater Accra. And I think at a certain point, you could feel that there was no serious campaign in Greater Accra. They felt it was lost.
So they were focusing on other areas.
Ashanti region.
Yeah.
And at the point, I even said that if they don't take care, Eastern would deliver a killer blow to them. And I was right. So they were focusing on Ashanti region. The numbers didn't come from there. Eastern that they neglected, the numbers didn't come either.
What happened in the Eastern region?
No, the Eastern region decided to vote in the very...
I mean, they did win in the Eastern region.
By a slim margin.
Yes, the margin was slim. What happened there? What were the dynamics? Because that's the home region of the president.
And he was very unpopular in the Eastern region as well. In fact, if you look at approval rating of the president before the polls, it was only Ashanti region that he was approved and Northeast. Every region disapproved him, including the Eastern region. So that was going to be a problem. For him in Eastern region too, it's not entirely homogeneous. You have the Kous there, you have the Kwapims there, you have the Achims there, you have the Gandangbes there.
Yeah.
So, and these Gandangbe areas, they are gone for NDC. And then if you are not pulling your numbers up in the even Achim areas, the numbers were so close in some areas of Achim. If you look at the Oda and Asina across Manso, it wasn't good. So, I mean, there was clear problem that MPP should have seen coming from these two backyards. But probably they were too busy and they didn't see those numbers coming.
And in the Western region,
I don't know why people think that should be a surprise.
Yeah.
We have
Western region, particularly Second D. People
keep on talking for me was surprising
about Second D because Second D has never
gone NDC.
Never.
Look, we have polled Second D several times. Takoradi, Efia, Shama, Kwesimintim, Esikado. 6 of these STMA metros. The signs were there every time we polled, with the exception of Second D. We were of the belief that MP was going to lose all those seats except Second D. But rather, they rather lost Second D and retained Takoradi in Efia. That was a surprise for me when it comes to the Western region area. The rest, we knew it was coming. In Takwan Swim, we knew it was long gone.
But have you gone into, the detail in the aftermath, right? Have you gone into the details of what happened in Second D and why the voters went the way they did?
We have the exit polls for Western Region. We have to probably dig down and see the unique situation that happened there. But I think when it comes to Adapa Mesa, there were issues that people were not prepared to tell us when we were polling. They were kind of blending in. And I think they revealed their true selves on election day.
Did any of the candidates in the parliamentary elections, take your work seriously when you were, because you were constantly updating us with polls, you do a poll, you put it on social media and all of that. Did any of the candidates take your work seriously?
In fact, the NDC did because they have no choice. but the MPP, some of them did. Martin Mr. Kosa was one person who was really following our polls very closely. He was getting the numbers sometimes. And then also Okuboy, another person who was following the polls and looking at these numbers. I know some were doing that, but those who spoke directly to see what was happening were these two people. And the candidate for Tema West.
Tema West.
Yes.
That's his...
I've forgotten his name.
No, Ebi Bright is Tema Central, right?
Yes, I mean the MPP candidate for Tema
MPP
West.
Candidates. All of them took
they took work
seriously and did some work in that regard.
Yeah, some of them, in fact, they heard Tema West. Tema West, I think he let his guard down. But he was on course to win 2 months before the election.
So let's talk about the apathy issue right now. So the MPP, I've heard people even like Professor Stephen Adai, for example, say the NDC didn't win the election.
That's not true.
But it's the voters of MPP decided that they were not going to go out to go and vote, and that resulted in the NDC because people say NDC maintained their figures, but the MPP's figures dropped because there was a lot of apathy. And so if the MPP people had gone out to go and vote, then the NDC would have won.
You see, they are speaking as if it is the same voters in 2020 who were voting in 2024. We have first-time voters who were voting for the first time.
Yeah.
How do that count for them? If it was MPP who gave it out to NDC, how on earth could NDC win a brief without MPP people supporting NDC? I mean, some of these things are fantasy. Look, the poll shows, the exit poll shows that 13% of MPP voters who went out there went for Mahama. 13%.
13%?
Yes.
According to the exit poll?
Yes.
Who are MPP people? Sympathizers.
They went there and didn't vote for MPP candidate.
They changed their candidate.
Absolutely.
And voted for Mahama.
Yes.
So it is not the case that there are people that don't go out to go and vote. Because they complain about apathy, especially in the Ashanti region.
They have no data about who voted and how they voted. The fact that Nado got 2 million more did not mean that they were MPP people. People who vote for Baumia and Mahama and other candidates, they include other party supporters. So not just MPP people who vote for the MPP candidates. No. Mahama got support from MPP people, from NDC, floating voters, and those who don't have, who support the smaller parties.
Right.
So if the number Nado got has come down, how do you determine which of the 2 million is MPP, NDC, and floating voters? You have no data.
So it's a non-starter. It's not an argument that the MPP should make.
Bunu East had the highest apathy. Bunu East is not NDC stronghold.
Yeah.
So everybody suffered. They are even lucky they didn't come out to vote. When they were angry and they came out to vote, that 13 would have been probably 18 or 20%.
So what should the MPP be doing, in regrouping?
Self-introspection, sincere self-introspection, driven by data. They may have to do two kind of studies. Internally, within the campaign structure, within the campaign systems, and how the campaign went, and what went wrong within the campaign. And then the one involving the ordinary voters. Why did the people behave the way they behaved?
Right.
You can't just do internally without doing the external. It must be two-pronged approach to see what went wrong.
Okay, we'll have to be wrapping up this conversation at this time. We're hearing that Dr. Baumia got 38%, and from the EC, but it looks like the EC is saying that we should disregard that. What are your thoughts on that?
No, if you look at the
because at a point in time, some of the polls were indicating that Dr. Baumia was below 40%. But later it appreciated.
Okay, let's look at our predictions.
Yes.
Our best case for John Mahama was 54%. We said that could be ceiling.
Yes.
And then Bawumia was 39%.
Yes.
And others 7%.
Yes.
That's the prediction we gave out the last week before the vote.
Yeah.
If we take EC's own numbers, Mahama is on, let's say, 5-6%. Bawumia 41%.
Yeah.
Others maybe 3% or thereabout. So the predictions compared to the actual numbers were either 2% off for John Mahama and then the same 2% off
for Dr.
Bawumia.
Yeah.
Right? And the others were about 4% or thereabout. We don't know what number we'll have at the end. I don't know what number they are gazetting. And that number will change eventually, because when they finish the entire collation, those numbers will change. But they need a number to gazette before they can swear in. But for me, the interesting data comes in the regional numbers. I don't think people have taken time to look at our regional polls versus the actuals. It's quite fascinating. We'll be sharing some of those data very soon on our pages.
Okay. So what do you say to those who say that you're a lotto forecaster? Miracles Abwaji and Co said that you were guesswork, lotto forecasting.
What
Paula Domotri and Co, said you are doing very bad work. But Paula Domotri apologized to you. Have you accepted that apology?
Of course I will, because I have no personal grudge against him.
He invited you to appear on his show. Will you?
I said I'm not showing up. No, I'm not showing up. But you see, there are people in this country whose agenda is to destroy credible work people have done. I'll mention names like Koko Anyi, one of them, and Alate Jacob, one of them. They sat on a station every day lambasting the work we have done.
Yeah.
And for me, if you're not honest to admit you have made a mistake as a man of God, and you are very insincere. You see, in the past, the political parties, both MPP and NDC, maybe they have paid people to do this job. So if it's not them paying you, then they assume that somebody else must be paying you. That's their problem. That's why MPP decided to close their eyes against our polls. But they believe John Mahama has paid us. Right?
Did John Mahama pay you?
For what? We are more credible than those. We don't stoop low. We don't stoop low, no. Because we are working with international organizations who rely on our data. And there are big global firms that are talking to us and getting data to see what the outlook looks like. What we lie to them because somebody has given us money. We don't have time for that.
Did any support come from any other political parties in any way, shape, or form?
No, we don't.
Nothing at all.
We don't take penny from anybody to do what we are doing.
It's all on your own.
Yes, we are a company, for God's sake. We have clients. We have commercial business.
Right.
So what we are doing is our CSR.
Okay.
As simple as that. And we'll continue doing that in the future. We're not going to stop.
You see it as a corporate social responsibility.
Absolutely.
These polls.
And I think if you see the impact we've had in this election, it's phenomenal.
How does it make you feel, at Global Info Analytics?
I feel for this
you were spot on with this election.
It's not about the spot on that really made me happy. The fact that we have been able to do something that has never been done by any company since independence. Consistently providing people with where the voters' feeling and sentiments were. So that you don't feel that you are on your own. Nobody collects data, aggregate them and say, X people are saying that it's hard, times are hard. But we allow people to see what others were saying. And it's part of the accountability within our system of democracy. You must let the people know that this is what the people are feeling about what you are doing. So that nothing should come as a surprise on election day. If you're surprised that you lost, how on earth do you believe that when 65% of people are saying that times are hard, it's getting hard in the wrong way, you win an election? It doesn't happen. People are rational. So if you take the poll numbers with a pinch of salt, I think you will see exactly what has happened to MPP if you do that. And I hope NDC learns good lessons from this.
There were other polls that were put out there, and those polls turned out to be wrong. Renowned pollsters, turned out to be wrong. Statisticians, Professor Smart, Sapo, and Co. How did they get it wrong? I mean, Professor Papanko, for example, did a very huge sample size, you know, which people felt were more
have always argued that.
And he's a numbers person, right? He's a statistician, right? He's a numbers, mathematics,
that is why it is shocking.
Guy.
That's why it is shocking for his 49% to come 38%. Yes, because you wouldn't expect that to come from him. Some of us, we don't have PhD in statistics. I'm an accountant by profession. I'm a finance person. I got it right.
Well, you're good with numbers since you're a finance person. Maybe that's
it's all about the methodology and the sampling and the consistency with which you approach the sampling and the methodology. Consistency, rain or shine. Apply the same rigor, the same tools over time, over and over and over again. Get it right.
So you've said, before we go finally, you've said that you're going to be tracking John Mahama's performance after he takes office.
Yes.
How soon are you going to start that?
No, he has given himself 120 days. I didn't give that to him. He said he will do A, B, C.
So you start from day one. Are you starting from day one?
No, we are not starting, but people will start judging him.
Yeah.
We will come at the end of the 120 days to see how he's been judged by the people.
And what are the metrics you are going to use?
No, we're going to continue with the performance of the president, his approval rating.
Approval ratings.
We're going to do performance of the government, the new government. We're going to do people's standard of living. Has it changed since the 3 months he's been in office? And are they optimistic it will change in the near future? Right. We can compare the optimism now to the last year's optimism and see whether that sentiment have changed. We're going to be doing corruption as well. We won't stop. We're going to be looking at institutions of state that may be perceived to be corrupt. All this will be part of our transparency and accountability to the people.
Right.
We will track all those things until we eventually enter into another political cycle. And indeed, we'll be looking at why MPP lost along the line.
Okay. So after 120 days,
we'll begin to
start tracking Mahama,
yes,
and his performance.
Absolutely.
So that they can be out. They can be. What advice will you give to John Mahama?
It shouldn't be like MPP did.
How did MPP behave?
They pretended as if they haven't seen it and that we were paid by someone to do their bidding. And I think that was a big mistake.
So the NDC shouldn't do that.
There is a gentleman in UK called Lord, what to call this guy? Lord Ashcroft. Lord Ashcroft is is a House of Lords member and a leading financier of the Conservative Party in the UK. He does opinion polls. He's a known conservative financier and a Lord in the House of Lords. But when his poll comes out, nobody says he has been paid by someone to do the poll. They take the polls and look at it and work with it. Lord Ashcroft, UK House of Lords. So look at the numbers. Forget about what you think. Well, that may not help you in the end.
Look at the numbers.
Look at the numbers.
Look at the reality on the ground.
On the ground.
So what is as we're leaving, what is the verdict on President Akufo-Addo's second term? What would you say is the verdict on President Akufo-Addo's
no, according to me, according to the voters.
Yeah, according to the voters.
65% of them said they disapprove his performance. His highest mark has not gone above 40% for 3 years. Very unpopular, per the records. I wasn't here to track Mahama's record
in 2016.
But at least we have something now, and we can build on it going forward, so that we can compare performance of certain presidents over time. I think we have done a lot of the service to this country. We don't have realistic data as to how they performed while they were in office. We believe that going forward, this will be a thing of the past.
All right. Thank you very much, Musa Dankwa. It's been great having you. So, I mean, did Akufo-Addo lose the election for the NPP, or it was
from what we are
Bawumia who just wasn't a popular candidate? Because there are those who believe that Bawumia was okay, just that the President Akufo-Addo's performance was so bad that people didn't want to see the NPP at all. So it is
it really played a big role,
right,
for Bawumia, because he couldn't campaign on his own without the baggage of Nana Addo. When he tries to run away, they pull him back. You know, he was trying to show driver's mate and that kind of thing. People just drag him back into this. And I think that was his problem. And I said much earlier on that for him to win this election, he must really show that he must revolt against Nana Addo. he couldn't vote against him.
There are so many questions still coming to my mind, but because of time, we have to end. I was going to ask questions about, the campaign messaging and, all of that, but we don't have enough time, and so we have to end it here. Musa Danquah, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you here in the studio.
Nice being here.
Yes, and moving into the year 2025, we want to see more of your work.
Definitely, we'll see more.
So we'll be looking forward to it. Thank you very much once again. And Happy New Year in advance.
Same to you. Same to you.
Musa Danquah has been my guest here in the studio. Musa Danquah is with the Global Info Analytics. Of course, when we talk about Global Info Analytics, that name is synonymous with Musa Danquah. And we've been speaking to him, doing an analysis of the just ended 2024 general elections. There's still more to come here on GH Today. We have a conversation coming up on HIV and AIDS as it pertains to this festive season and the dangers thereof. We've got a beautiful performance by a choir coming up as well. And we're also talking about New Year resolutions. All coming up here on GH Today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. You're still watching GH Today here on GHOne Television, and it's time for us to get into sports chat, right? And yeah, sports chat is coming up. Time for sports chats. Yes, the man is here in the studio with the details in sports. The man who says he doesn't support any team.
Lantam, I'll let you know my.
You say you don't support any team. Yeah. We are wondering why you are telling me that you don't support any team. You support a team, Joel?
I'll try and see which of the teams I would be.
Come and support Manchester United.
I'll look at it. But I have a video for you today also. I showed you a picture yesterday. You told me your captain is able and he can lead you to the right destination.
Don't worry.
Yesterday, unfortunately, Manchester United losing again. I've got a video for you. I'm sure you all will be interested in that. But obviously, there's a Ghana Premier League fixtures for the games to come up this weekend from Friday and into the weekend. And also, what is making news? And we'll be speaking with a FIFA agent on the show today. I'll be joined on the line pretty soon. GHOne is a FIFA licensed agent here in Ghana. Well, so the minimum age here in Ghana now to register professionally is 21. Other countries do not even cross 20. But for Ghana and GFA, they are saying you have to be 21 years old before you sign a professional contract. Is it anything good to go by? We'll find out from the FIFA agent and what have you. But first off, let's start with our very first story that has to do with the Ghana Premier League fixtures. Let's check out the fixtures coming up this weekend. We're going to be seeing, most of the teams, Hartlepool will be taking on Legon Cities in their fixtures, Friday, and also Gold Stars FC on Saturday will lock horns with Brecum Chelsea, whilst Mediama will be settling scores with Asante Kotoko on Sunday. Bechem United play host to Heart of Lions, and Nations FC will be playing Basete Holy Stars. Young Apostles will be at home. They welcome Karela United, and Vision FC will be squaring it off with Inswatreman FC in that fixture. Adriana Stars, the Ojab Boys, I call them, they will be facing FC Summertex in their fixture. Well, so this is to wrap up, obviously, or this is to begin the new year. So these are new year fixtures for your information. And Dreams FC will be at home at the Tuba AstroTurf just here in Kaswa. They take on Accra Lions, who are relegation threatened in the Ghana Premier League. Accra Lions came into the league very good, but unfortunately for them, it's not going too well. Well, let's now turn our attention away from the Ghana Premier League and bring you something that has to do still with Ghana football, but grassroots football, with regards to the FIFA regulations that is out. It has to do with safeguarding. When we talk about safeguarding, it is you representing a minor, and this has to do with FIFA agents. Well, so they are clamoring over the fact that the age limit here in Ghana when it comes to signing a professional contract for them is nothing to go by. So we'll be joined on the phone lines pretty shortly by GHOne. GHOne is okay. So GHOne has joined us on the phone line right now. GHOne, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so GHOne, this news coming in for you, and the agents in Ghana, you guys feel it is not a good call. Why that? Other countries, I think it's just two countries, Ghana and the other country, who are going for 21 years old, signing a professional contract. What does it mean to you, and does it affect football development in any way?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to greet you and your viewers. And then it means that before you can get a professional contract, you have to be 21 years, not 18 years again. In our country or in Africa, players don't use their real ages. Before a player to be 21 years, that means he or she is more than 21 years. So it's going to affect these players and Ghana football as a whole. Now, when we change this thing, it's going to bring some penalty in our Ghana football, especially to the players. Yes.
Okay, GHOne, and also, initially you said it was 18 years. In Ghana,
yes,
I mean, what is the age limit for one to be, I mean, and these are minors also, and representing them with regards to safeguarding and all that. Would you say we are not going according to what FIFA really wants, or a country can decide to, I mean, determine the age limit?
Okay, so let me say this. You know, these rules, they are made by the association. I mean, the member association, for example, GHOne. It's not FIFA who implement this regulation. It's just the member association. So this is not FIFA. So the association implement this and back it with Ghana contract law at 96, at 1996 as 55, which I found it to be wrong. The interpretation is wrong, because when you check on the labor law, it says that a player who is
speaking about the new regulations by the GFA so if you're now going to sign a professional contract here in Ghana, you have to be 21 years old. I mean, maybe we'll talk about that later. Lantam will also want to chip in a few about that. But then let's quickly see the results of the English Premier League games that were played yesterday. And not too good news for the likes of Manchester United. Chelsea also, they were all losers at home. Aston Villa shared the Spurs 2-2. They played in that game, 2-2 drawn game with Brighton Hove and Albion. Ipswich Town were 2-0 winners over Chelsea. Interesting there. Chelsea, Manchester both losing 2-0 each there. Manchester United were at home at the Old Trafford. They call it the Theatre of Dreams. They were dreaming there, obviously, and they lost in that particular one. I know Lantam doesn't want to hear me say those things. It's not trolling, but unfortunately for Amorim, the Amorim ball really is not rolling for him. Let's see how next year goes for Manchester United. Well, let's now turn our attention away from that and bring you something on Gareth Southgate, because he's been knighted. He's part of the list that has been knighted just yesterday. Gareth Southgate, a former England manager, he's been knighted into the Hall of Fame. He was knighted yesterday. Well, so that's the news coming in. And also for Barcelona, yet again, the news coming in is that they've lost another appeal to register Spain forward Dani Olmo for the rest of the season. Also not too good for Barcelona. They failed again. The 26-year-old was to sign from German Bundesliga side RB Leipzig for a reported 60 million euros. And however, he was registered only for the first half of the season, and they could not ensure that they sealed his signature once again. So Dani Olmo and Barcelona failing to get another appeal to register the Spain forward. All right, so that's how we wrap up. But then before we end, this is the video of the day I want to show Lantam. Let's check out the video of the day.
You.
All right, so this is a video of the day for Manchester United.
And he's crying. Don't worry, Amorim, stop crying. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine.
Let's hope so.
This season, we've dashed this season.
I'm trying hard to see if I can join you, but this shave alone is looking like Pep Guardiola. Don't worry. He's facing a few challenges.
Don't worry. Next season, watch out for us. This season, we've dashed it.
Okay.
We are restructuring.
I'll think about it.
And putting things in place.
Restructuring in the pipeline, in field development.
Don't worry.
All right.
Don't worry.
Okay. That's how we wrap the sports here. But also you can join Nanama, Monica for the newswoman, also News Tonight for all the sports updates here on EIB Sports.
All right.
Joel Champong.
Thank you very much. Joel Champong with a sports chat. We'll take a quick breather here. When we return, we've got a whole lot more coming up for you here on GH Today. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. You're still watching GH Today here on GHOne Television. And we want to talk about Christmas and HIV. Yes, those two things don't go together. You don't think about Christmas and think about HIV. But because the Christmas festivities comes with all kinds of enjoyment and chilling and dirty things. I say dirty things because there's dirty December and people dirty themselves. And the dirtiness comes with a real risk of HIV. The dirtiness, dirty December, it comes with a real risk of HIV. And so it becomes important for us to talk about Christmas and HIV. And so we want to do that right now here on the show. And I've been joined in the studio by Ernest Amwabeng Orting. He is president of the Ghana HIV and AIDS Network, or GHANET. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
Many happy returns,
and Happy New Year.
Yes, many happy returns.
Thank you very much for joining us in the studio.
And thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, it's good to have you. So, how dangerous is this season for the spread of HIV? This season, dirty December.
Thank you very much, and a very good morning to all our viewers. Yes, like you rightly said in your intro, this is the time the year has come to an end. Everybody's happy. We are all in a celebratory mood. But unfortunately, for some people, they get overboard and they get to do things they're not expected to do. And by so doing, some of them end up getting themselves into trouble. Some take to alcoholism, some take to, sex and all of those things. And in the process, end up getting infections. So what we have done at GHANET is to use this period, this youth out period, to educate the public more about the dangers, about the risk associated with you having fun and getting loose and getting infected with HIV.
So you don't have to take any chances.
You don't have to take any chances.
Take advantage of the Christmas to do all kinds of things which will land you into trouble.
Exactly so. And I'm sure somebody might be watching us. Throughout the whole year, you have stayed HIV negative. But if you're not careful, something you will do tonight,
because of dirty December,
and others, something you do tonight could end, you up getting an infection.
And people are doing things.
Yes, we know a lot of people are
I've
doing
seen
things.
things with my eyes.
Yes.
That's my mouth cannot say. People are doing things this dirty December.
Well, we ourselves, we've been in town. Our teams have been running activations, trying to give out condoms and also trying to give out HIV self-test kits so people can test themselves and know their status. The good news is that in Ghana, our prevalence is 1.53. So which means that out of every 100 Ghanaians who test, 98 will be HIV negative. And only 2 may be, positive. So we've had these activations running. A lot of people have tested, they have tested negative, and they are so excited. And we're encouraging them that they should continue to stay negative and not engage in practices that will put them at risk of getting HIV infection.
But in all of this, what are some of the challenges in getting people to take, the issue of HIV seriously, especially during these festive seasons? What have you noticed?
Well, I think there's complacency. Because we are no longer seeing those skeletal bodies we used to see back in the day when there was no treatment for HIV. People think that the disease is no more because we no longer see all those skinny people who have, emasculated and all that. We don't see all those things. So people are becoming complacent. Secondly, there's medication available.
The ARVs.
So the ARVs. So people are once again becoming complacent, thinking that, after all, if I get infected, there's medication available for me. But I can tell you that if you talk to any person who has to take medication every morning or every evening, it's not easy. You are better off avoiding an infection. Besides, there's also the stigma. The stigma and discrimination that comes with HIV is one of the factors that is making people not wanting to come out and test because they are afraid that if they get tested and they are positive, society will shun them, their friends will shun them. You know, if they are working, they might be, you know, sacked. If they are renting a property, they may be ejected and all of that. So that kind of fear is also a factor why people don't want to test and know their status. But the good news is that we've been at Laboma Beach throughout these festivities. We have a stand there, and people are coming out.
People are testing.
People are really testing.
Right.
People are really testing voluntarily.
So I've seen that you've got some some products, test kits.
Yes, these are test kits, and I brought some for you.
Okay.
And then I brought some indeed for every staff member. Yes.
Okay, so let's see how the test kits look like.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a self-test kit.
Yes, this
right,
is
for HIV. Yes. Check now. So once you test, you're able to know. How accurate are these tests?
These are WHO pre-qualified test kits.
Right.
I mean, scientifically, we talk about sensitivity and specificity.
Yeah.
And each of them around 99.9%. So the accuracy is very, very high. If you test and it says you are negative, you truly are negative.
So
if it says you are reactive, not positive.
Reactive.
If it says you are reactive, then we do a confirmatory test.
Okay.
You know, Ghana, before we can declare someone as having HIV, there's a 3-test algorithm that we go through.
Okay.
So we test you with 3 different products. So we want to be sure that the test is really positive. So when you are reactive, we then encourage you to go through a confirmatory test, which will finally confirm whether you are positive or negative. But so far, the accuracy, as I said, is 99.9%.
So how is the test done? What is inside?
Okay, so we can
okay, we can do that quickly.
Yes.
We can do that very quickly.
We can tear one, and when you open it, so you have your well and your basin.
Okay,
and you have your. Let me just quickly get
this. I mean, we could do. How long does the test result take to come out?
Just 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Okay. We don't have 15 minutes. I would have done, the testing right live here, but we don't have 15 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the lancet in the pack.
Okay.
And this is what you have to first and foremost wash your hands.
Okay.
Dry it to make sure it's clean.
But we can do the test. I mean, 15 minutes later you'll not be here, but we can tell. So I mean, just a demonstration, right?
Okay.
Just a demonstration, right? So that people know exactly how the test is done once they are able to get one of these self-test kits, right? Okay. So you take this out.
You take this out,
and
as
then
you wash your hands.
Okay.
We normally advise that you use either your ring finger or your middle finger.
Okay. So
you need to massage it.
Middle finger. So you massage
the middle finger or the ring finger. You do some massaging, just to make sure that you can get the blood to flow. Okay. So you have. Let me bring out the pipette.
Okay.
So the pipette is what we are going to use to collect the blood.
Collect the blood.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's do that. Let's do a demonstration.
You want to test?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. Great.
Let's do a demonstration.
Great.
Okay.
So let me just.
Okay. Oh, but the blood is there. You can see that the blood is there.
Yes.
Yeah. So is it coming? I didn't feel it though.
Yes. Normally it's not painful.
Okay.
You don't feel. Some people are scared that when they test.
Okay.
So we have the blood.
All right. So
we're going to put it here.
Put it here
in the basin.
Okay.
One. Good.
All right.
So we have two. Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Let me just use the plaster.
All right, on it. I think there's some sort of wipes or something in there.
There's a wipe here.
Yes, that we used to.
Yes. So
wipe off the blood. So let me just quickly do that. Okay. So we can just wipe it off.
Yes. Okay. And just in case you feel any pain, you can use the plaster as well
to slap on it.
Yes.
Okay.
So that the blood doesn't
go all over the place.
Exactly.
So once you put the blood in there, you wait 15 minutes?
No. So once you put it here,
okay,
we have the blood in the basin now.
Okay.
So we have to pick using our pipettes. This is the pipette.
Okay.
Have a look at it.
Okay.
Look.
So that's the pipette.
That's the pipette.
All right.
So I'll just pick a sample of the blood and I'll put it in the well. Just one drop.
Okay.
So just one drop in the well. Then I'll pick my buffer.
Okay.
I open it and I put just one drop. Okay, so I put just one drop into it. With this, our test is done. So we have to now wait for 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
For the test to be accurate or
accurate, yes.
to relax.
Yes.
Okay.
So
while you clean, you get rid of all the blood and all of that because it needs to be sterile.
Exactly.
So that nobody comes into contact with it. So I think I can also drop this one in here. And then wipe very well with the wipes to make sure that
everything
no blood is around. And then you dispose of it properly.
So if you I don't know whether your camera can pick it.
Yeah, the camera can.
You can see that it's showing. This is where the results will show.
Okay.
This is where we have the C and then the T.
Okay. On the test kit, that is there.
Yes.
There is a C.
There's a C.
And then there is a T.
A T.
Okay.
So the C is the control. Now, for the results to be correct, the C must always show.
Okay.
And then, if we want to read the results, we read it from the T, which is the test. So if you have the red line showing only on the control, it means your test results is negative.
Okay. So can you show this to the camera? I think we are beginning to see something.
Yes.
Okay.
So you are beginning to see.
All right. So if you can tilt it, just show it to this camera. All right. So that camera. So that is it.
Yeah. So if at the end we see two lines,
okay,
it means the test is reactive.
Okay.
But if we see just one line, and that one line is on the C, which is the control, it means your test results is negative.
It's negative.
But if we see just one line, and that line is on the T, it means the test was not properly done. So you have to redo.
We have to redo
the test.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So that is what it says.
That's right.
So 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
I'm beginning to see the line.
Yes, but everything will settle by 15 minutes. And we are seeing a single line, so which means you are safe.
Yeah, but we don't have 15 minutes like I said earlier. So
no, but
we'll keep the test here. We'll keep the test here.
No, whatever it is, this is supposed to be a self-test. This is supposed to be a private test.
Right.
So before the 15 minutes, I will encourage you. You keep the test. You keep the test privately.
Yeah.
It's for your own consumption.
Yes.
I don't need to know. Nobody else needs to know, and that is why we call it.
Don't worry, I don't mind anybody knowing.
That's why we call it a self-test.
Yeah.
We're encouraging people on their own to test and get to know their status.
All right. So where do people? Yeah. So where do people get these tests? Very briefly, because we have just a minute to wrap up. So where do people get some of these tests?
Okay. So to make it easier, we will leave some test kits with you.
Okay.
People can call into GHOne, and if they make requests, we'll make the test kit available.
That's fine. That's fine.
And then we also brought some condoms.
So these are condoms.
Well.
All right. So if people also want condoms, they should come for condoms.
Yes, they can call you. We'll leave some condoms with you. So these ones are for you.
Yeah, a lot of condoms. So come to GHOne. We have plenty condoms. For dirty December. Those of you who want to dirty yourselves, dirty yourself safely. Come for condoms. We'll give you free. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So yes, we're encouraging people to stay safe.
Yeah.
They shouldn't, engage in risky sexual behaviors.
Right.
And just in case they decide to do, they should always remember to protect themselves. Use a condom to protect yourself. Test and also know your status. Treatment is free. When you go on treatment, it's free. And the good news is that when you go on treatment and you are quite steadfast with it, you stay religiously on treatment, within 6 months maximum, you will achieve viral suppression. It means the virus will no longer be active within you. And at that stage, you cannot pass on the virus to another person. At that stage, you can marry, you can be in a relationship and not be bothered.
So it's not a death sentence.
It's not a death sentence.
You just have to test and know your status early.
You can even have children who are negative because we have many positive mothers whose children are negative. And that's because they are virally suppressed.
All right.
So we encourage everybody to test and know their status.
All right. Very well. Thank you very much, Ernest and Wabing Orton. It's been great having you here in the studio.
Thank you.
He's from the Ghana HIV and AIDS Network, or GHOne. And Christmas and HIV. While you are chilling, protect yourself, do things in moderation, and don't get yourself infected. And of course, we encourage you to do the testing and know your status. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. We still got more coming up here for you. And like I mentioned, we've got a special performance, a very special choir performance coming with a very special choir. So stay tuned in for that. It's coming up pretty shortly. And also, we're talking about New Year resolutions as well. Coming right up. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And it's time for us to talk about resolutions. Today is the last day of the year 2024. And if you're here, you should be very happy and very excited and grateful to God that you are among those who have lived to see this day, and you're on the verge of entering the year 2025. Now, more often than not, a lot of people make resolutions and they don't follow through on the resolutions for reasons best known to them. Do not be one of those people. When you make a resolution this night or even today, make sure that when you enter the year 2025, you are following through on it, and it could be anything. And we want to talk a bit about that, right? And joining us in the studio is Councillor Lutrot. It's always a pleasure having him here in the studio, Councillor George Lutrot. Always is in his signature hat and sunglasses.
Chal, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Councillor?
It's been good. It's been better. It's been favorable. It's been careless. Very, very careless.
It's been careless?
Yes.
What makes it careless?
Because there's a proverb in Ghana that is said, you meet a Gama, is a tete, a bow down to it. It means they don't really pay attention to details in their mouth. But my own is, I pay details because I hate to chew stones.
Right.
So I pay very high details in my mouth. However, I am not better than any other person, and my carefulness have not yielded any fruit, but my carelessness has made me more careful. So then I'm saying that it's been very careless, because there are places I go and live, and the scandal that comes out, I don't know how I'm out of it. I mean, I've ended a year with no scandal.
Yeah.
No sexual scandal, no monetary scandal, no political scandal. The only scandals I met were the witches trying to intervene with what I've not called them to do. And those were scandals that I dealt with. So I'm grateful to God that a lot of people, last year, there's a lady I met that she crossed over exactly when we entered the first January. She was rushed to Lekma. She didn't come back home.
Wow.
And as a matter of fact, they say she left in the morning in the house, took her things to go to church and come back home. She left 3 kids, didn't go back home.
Wow.
So I've come to believe that when we say we are entering into a new year, the 24 hours, at 24 minutes in 24 hours, at 24 seconds in 24 hours is more dangerous than the whole 24 hours. I pray that God will seal all of us through, that whatever it is, we will learn to be grateful. Ingratitude is a demon, and let's work on it. And most of us are candidates of ingratitude. We only come back when we need something again from the other party. And I think we will learn something from our next line of life living. So when I say careless, this is what I mean by that. And when I say careless, there are 2 words. I care, but less, because I am not in charge. I'm grateful and thank you so much for hosting me this morning. A big thank you to Bodyline Clothing for my outfit. For 12 to 15 years, they kept giving me something to wear, and I'm always grateful to God that they are there for me. So thank you for hosting me this morning. You're looking good.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you very much. I'm trying to emulate you. I'm trying to.
It's good. I hardly love men hosting me, but I think I have to manage you. It's okay.
Councillor. So, I mean, of course, what you've just said is, quite profound, right? Caring less and all of that. And gets it into the conversation about resolutions. People make all kinds of resolutions: family resolutions, relationship resolutions, financial resolutions, educational resolutions, political resolutions. You just name it. Why are they important? Why is it important for you to sit down and say, okay, this is my resolution?
Well, thank you very much. Naturally, the basic definition of resolution is one making an intense decision for a particular thing. And it has been categorized in many ways. Unfortunately for us, we're going to discuss personal resolutions and not corporate resolutions. Because in the KYC of a bank, a company needs a resolution from the board of directors so we can have a signature to a document. So personally, each of us wake up in the morning and we need to have a resolution so we can arrive at where we are going to. In life, knowing where you're going to is one thing. Knowing how to go to where you're going to is another thing. and looking for other means to go to where I'm going to is another confusion. Because if you're going to Kumasi, somebody can live here in 35 minutes they are in Kumasi because they use flight. I mean, you will still be in Kumasi.
Yeah.
Somebody will use the bus, they will still be in Kumasi. Somebody will drive, they will still be in Kumasi. Somebody can decide to go through Takrady, Cape Coast, hit offense so in the corners, still be in Kumasi.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, people believe that whatever it is, when you arrive, you have arrived. But I'm telling you, you lose a lot of things if you don't have it right to arrive.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell everybody, before you consider making a resolution, which is a personal decision, one of the key things we should never consider is to make a decision which is a major decision in a temporal situation. I repeat, never make a major decision in a temporal situation, because my brother, no condition is permanent.
When you say don't make a decision in a temporal, a major decision in a temporal situation, give us an example.
There are a lot of people who today, they decided that next year, or that is 2024, when they enter the year, they were resolute that before the year ends, they should be married, for example.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that when they made that decision, they were making it to either spite somebody or making it to either make somebody feel that they are worth what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So they took an ad hoc decision. They didn't consider it. They didn't consider the roadmap. They didn't consider how they will get there. They never considered the number of speed ramps. How many times have the road been patched? How many times have people failed? My brother, one of the things I've learned in my life is that whoever fails is equal to whoever wins. Now, the preparation MPP put in to win the election so that they regain back their seat for Dr. Bawumia, as compared to the preparation NDC did for the candidate, President-elect John Mahama, to come to power, is equal in terms of effort.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was given less time.
Mm-hmm.
So for NPP to lose is a painful loss, because whatever they needed to win is what they did. So the same thing like going to an examination. Mm-hmm. We all learn.
But on that score, I would ask you, with MPP ending up where they've ended up, what should be their resolution?
They should not make any major decision in a temporal situation. Like sacking people, this didn't do well. They should sit down. They should really sit down and let it become a major situation, because no condition is permanent. But if you don't take care and you make a temporal, there are temporal situations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't be in power forever. That is no condition is permanent.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that the first thing you need to consider is never make a major decision that will affect your life. It could be divorce, it could be marriage, it could be education, it could be travel, it could be rent. Look, people are struggling today because instead of them to pay rent in Accra, they went to start a building in Kaswa, and that is why today they are struggling. I'm telling you, you'll be shocked that yes, your husband is paying rent, maybe 6,000 Ghana cedis to a fellow man for 3-bedroom house, and you are making noise. How can you be paying this to your fellow man whilst you have a land? Let's go and do something. Ever since you moved from Accra to Kaswa, your marriage has been affected because you were making a major decision in the temporal situation.
So how will people be able to tell and walk that fine line, or find the right balance between knowing when to make certain critical decisions? Because what I glean from what you're saying is, before you make any major decision or any major resolution, you need to consider the situation and the circumstances, right? So that you're not making the wrong decision. So how will you be able to know that at this time, this decision is the right one to go?
The first thing you need to discover who you are. If I ask you, do you know yourself? You should not jump and say yes, because as you sit, you don't know yourself.
Why do you say so?
Because there are things that happens to you, and the way you react, you didn't know this is how you're going to react. So we don't know ourselves until we get to a certain situation to build ourselves. So before you can make a proper resolution, the first thing is to review the previous one you have made before. Then in that you discover yourself, discover your weaknesses, discover your temperament, discover what really were the roadblocks. Were there personal roadblocks? Were there public roadblocks? Were there roadblocks that were there not because of you? Look, I tell people every day, when you see a host on TV and you clap your hands for them, majority of them might be good, but they are good because there's a talk back in your ears. So it's like the restaurant. You walk there and you give people thanks, tips. You give them tips, top service. What is regular in America, but in Ghana is bribe. You know, America they demand tips like omuti boom, but Ojo Ghana I'm say bribe. I mean, you know, see so, and the tip will you pay direct or through your Zelle account? We show you say na tip by force. Yeah, jig. Who do airport? You check your luggage outside. Do money you say yes, but you need to give me a tip of $5, $10. Them say and to mumu dia na bribe, mu dia na den
tip.
Yes, your society and you bribe the tip because you hear tips here around the system now. So I'm saying that you go to a restaurant, the food is nice, and you want to give a tip. Do you give to the waiter or you go to the kitchen and look for who cooked the meal? Majority of the time we give to the waiter who came to serve us.
Yeah.
But the meal is the reason, not the service. The meal, the taste of the meal is what you're paying for. So who is taking it from you is not the one who cooked it. They just came to serve it. So before you make any move, I say first discover yourself. Do you know yourself?
So what are the questions that you're asking yourself in order to discover yourself?
Who am I? Where am I coming from? Where am I going? What do I want to do in the next minute? In case there's a situation, as you said, in case there's fire, what will be the first thing you do? Will you continue to announce to call fire service? GHOne is on fire right now. Can fire service come and help? Or you run from the studio so that the microphone will get on?
So is that the reason why a lot of people are not able to follow through on resolutions that they make?
Yes, because
it's very common for people to make resolutions.
Yeah, because it's easy. Everybody's doing some. 2024, maybe a lot of resolution.
I'll do this. I'll do this.
And 2024, me am ferry. Me mo be a say, me worry. And I'm saying that one of the major things for our generation is marriage. But they think that this scam, everybody must go through it. Marriage is a scam, but everyone must go through it.
So for someone who said, I'm going to get married in 2024, 2024 is ending today, the person is not married. What would you be telling
in the first place? Will it be a failure? And if it's a yes, that's where you have to sit down and take a retrospect in all the things that has happened. So the first thing you ask is that, is it a failure that I didn't get married? What really happened? Okay, I said I'll marry because there was a guy. Or I said I'm married because I'm considering a certain guy. You know, people have not married yet because some of them were going out with people's husbands. And there's nothing wrong in going out with anybody's husband. Even if it tells you that when going out with somebody's husband is wrong, they are lying. There's nothing wrong with it.
Define the going out.
Having a relationship with a married man is not a wrong thing.
That's in side chick.
Yes, as a side chick. Side chick is a whole, it's a grace that God bestows on women who have the courage. And they are part of the package in
side chicks.
Yes.
But side chicks are destroying marriages.
If any side chick is able to destroy anybody's marriage, there was no marriage then. Because they are part of the marriage.
How?
Do you eat banana?
Yes.
When you buy banana, do they peel it before they give you?
No.
Is the banana coming with a peel?
Yes.
When you finish eating banana, what do you use the peel for?
You throw it away.
You choose to throw it away. Some people chew it.
I don't know anyone who chews banana peels.
A lot. There are too many things that people would do with the peel. But when you're going to buy, you can't ask that take the banana out of the peel. Do you get it? So everybody who gets married, there are two things you should expect in marriage. Cheating and divorce.
You should expect.
It is part of it. It's inevitable.
It's
so
inevitable.
When it happens, yes, if it happens, it's normal. As I said,
if you say it's inevitable, I think there's a possibility that it will happen.
It has to happen because it's part of the package. It's like the banana.
Right, so if you get married, you have to divorce?
It's not. If you are not married, can you divorce?
No.
If you are not married, can you cheat?
No, but if you get married, the goal is to be with each other.
Marriage is not forever.
Till death do you part.
Till what?
Death do you
part. So there
part.
is something that ends it. So marriage is not forever.
No, it's not.
So never enter into marriage and think we are going to stay forever.
But should you be entering marriage thinking about divorce?
The first thing you think about in marriage is divorce. That's why in my office, the first course you do before you marry is divorce.
You have to think about divorce when you're
going. Know the exit plan.
Why should you think about divorce when you're going to marry? Because it is the exit plan
to safety. Look, when you enter into a building like GHOne building,
but will it not be a problem
for
if before you enter into marriage you're already thinking about the possibility of a divorce.
This is why
will that not take a toll on the marriage? Shouldn't the mindset be, I'm going in this, there's no turning back?
If you go into marriage, there's no turning back, you have a mental problem. Yes, anybody who tells you marriage is forever and don't think of no turn back, they have a mental problem.
Is that so?
Go into marriage knowing that there's a safety valve called divorce. Keep that in your head. And that is the basic thing you need to know. So when you have this behind you, when you go into marriage and you decide you want to divorce, you know it's part of it. Cheating. So when you throw your hands in despair and start making noise, and I don't know why a man should be cheating on, please.
So should the cheating only be on the part of the man or the woman?
About how many people are married? It's a male and a female who are married.
So the woman can have side guys.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Really?
I don't know where your really is coming from.
This is a controversy. The statement you made is very controversial. There are a lot of people who don't agree with you.
But if you don't agree with me, who is on the TV? I'm talking out of research and practice that many have lost their lives because your statement you made is why I'm bringing this in.
Yes.
That side chicks are collapsing marriage, and I'm saying it emphatically. No side chick can collapse anybody's marriage.
Okay.
Because a wife can never be compared to a side chick. A side chick is present because there's a wife. Who is a side chick? A side chick is any lady going out with a married man.
Yes.
So if a man is not married, you are not a side chick. Simple. So as long as my wife continues to be with me, then the legitimacy of my side chick is relevant. So when she's no more there, there's no side chick. Do you get it? So how dare can she collapse your marriage? Because immediately you collapse, she doesn't have any locus to be there again.
Maybe she takes over.
A side chick that takes over marriage is no more a side chick. And it is difficult for you to become the main wife when the side chick, the woman is gone. So our problem is because, like you said, they are focusing on the side chick and they are not being what they are supposed to be in the marriage. That's a problem. Because no side chick, I repeat, no side chick, spiritually, physically, materially, because as I said, there's nothing I give to my wife that can be compared to my side chick. Keep that in your head. I can buy the same shoes, but the shoes I'm buying, one is for wife. And what a wife uses, a side chick cannot use. And what a side chick does, a wife cannot do. So when you become resolute in your mind, because in marriage, it is also a resolution to be married. To make a decision, it's a whole resolution. So I'm saying, expect cheating, expect divorce. And when they happen, it is meant for the married. Those of you who are watching who are not married, you can't cheat. You can't divorce. So why didn't you get married? Then you come and tell us, yes, because the guy decided to marry me, then he cheated on me. How can the guy who has not married you cheat on you? Are you okay?
So those who are in normal relationships and saying he cheated on me, she cheated on me.
Cheating where? Both of you are already cheating because the two of you are not married.
So it's a non-starter. Unless there is marriage, then it's cheating.
Unmarried people don't cheat, they explore. It's exploration.
Okay.
So why didn't you get married? The guy, everything was ready. All of a sudden, I realized that he was sleeping with my closest friend. But if your guy who is going out with you is able to sleep with your closest friend, you should thank God, because friends in need are friends in need.
You should thank God for opening your eyes.
Because if you have a friend, you know they are neat, you know they are clean, you know how they are.
What if the friend is a bad friend?
But if you keep a bad friend, show me your friend,
and I'll show you your.
So you are the same, birds of the same feathers. They flock together, even though they are different birds. So this is the reason why you never got married. And my friend jilted me.
So should you still go into a marriage like that?
With who? With a guy who?
Yes, with a guy who went to sleep with your friend.
But should
you still go in?
Is the person your friend?
Would you advise?
Is the person your friend?
So would you advise a lady who is about to get married to a guy, and then the guy goes to sleep with her friend?
So should we also?
Would you advise such a lady to go ahead with such a marriage?
Should we also advise a lady who just finished?
No, I want an answer to the question.
No, I'll answer your question.
Yeah,
Should we also advise a lady who also just got married and realized that the husband have serious sexual intercourse with the maid of honor? As a matter of fact, maid of honors are not chosen by the man. You know that
they are chosen by the woman.
So you just realize that your maid of honor has a serious relationship with your caring husband. You just should you divorce?
Should you?
Are you sick?
Should you stay in it?
Are you okay?
Should you stay in it?
Please.
You should stay.
There's nothing any woman can do to stop any man from cheating, including my wife.
Really?
It's a personal decision.
Do you have a side chick?
Not yet. But when the money comes, I'll show Ghana what it means. Because it is capital intensive.
If you get money, you will get a side chick.
It's capital intensive.
Is your wife watching?
But if she doesn't watch, what should she do this time?
You should be happy with what you are saying.
Is she the one on TV? I'm the one on TV.
You are here on TV, but she's your wife.
And she's learning. This is a classroom.
So should your wife expect you to?
It is not an expectation. It's a personal decision.
Okay.
Now that I have not done it yet, it's because I've not decided. And it is my financial status now.
Okay.
When the money comes, you need to alleviate poverty through a relationship outside.
So when you get plenty money, you...
It's not plenty money. There's money that is allocated for side chicks. If you've not had that money and you dip your hand into the main money, they will hear of you. You see, so these things, we hardly find ourselves speaking truth to ourselves. So we tend to find ourselves in a position that is said, and I decided to do this, it never happened. So why didn't you get married? Why didn't the marriage come on? The first thing is to look for what really happened.
Okay.
I lost the guy.
Okay.
Did he die in a motor accident?
Okay.
Was he cheating and I said I won't do again? Or all of a sudden I found somebody better than the guy I was going to get married to, or I was acting married before the time. So this can be the reason why I didn't get married. That would be one of them. Now somebody said education. I make sure I was going to get my master's before the year 2024 end, and I'm resolute about it. Brother, yes, you are starting education. Do you go? Have you gone for forms? Yes. To do your master's, how much does it cost? Oh, it is $40,000, and it is spread to pay. Do you have $10,000 to start? So if you want to really go into having another resolution in 2025, first take stock of what you really had this year and why didn't it happen. Now look for where the loops were. What did I do wrong? Never think of what did they do wrong. We are too quick to ask what did he do wrong. Always ask, what role did I play? What role did I play? I mean, you want to achieve something and you realize that this year you slept more than any other year. This year, one of the things I realized I want to resolve in my next year 2025 resolution is to increase my sleeping pattern. Because I am deficit in sleeping. I didn't sleep at all. I did a lot and I didn't sleep. So I'm thinking of sleeping. And once I don't have enough sleep, my sexual intercourse is reducing. So I'm thinking this. You see my mind. I'm looking at it on a broader perspective. So it's one of my resolutions. So I'm saying anybody watching us, review what you gave yourself up. Even when it comes to health, and what I call the in check and the out check. Never start a new year without going for a medical check. Ask yourself, what did I enter? So you go and they say, you have this, you have that, you have that in the beginning of the year. In the quarter of the year, this is 6 months, go and check. Is it still there? They say it is gone. The year ends. Check your out. I'm leaving the year. It should be a resolution to you.
Right.
What am I ending the year with? Okay. Then before you start, ask yourself, from the 1st of January in 2025, what am I starting with the health? Is there anything I need to shed off? Is there anything I need to put on medication? Check it. And it's not only physical resolution. There are spiritual resolution as well. I want to stop being a Muslim. I want to stop being a Christian. I want to stop being a Hindu. I want to stop being a fetish spirit like a grada and start a church. Something is happening in your life. So resolutions are in broader perspective.
So going into 2025, what would you say are the things that, from where you sit, people should really be focusing on and people should be avoiding?
The first thing is that you will only know what you should focus on and know what to avoid if you can be able to do a review. That's why I like the topic when your producer sent it.
Yeah.
If you don't review, how do you add on?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. So what didn't I do right? The education didn't happen because the man who promised me didn't give me the money. There's this funny story. A young girl who was living in a hostel in Adabraka, and there was this sugar daddy who was paying for her. And one day she got up and said that she want to end this relationship, and it was just about for vacation. She ended the relationship. Now school reopens, and the people were asking her, "Unti your fees no?" Also, papa no. And so they called papa no that the fees have not. Your ladies, your daughter. They say the daughter. He said, she has graduated. He said, no, she's not graduated. Now she has to move from the place. She doesn't have the money to pay. So before you make a decision like that I'm going to stop with this man, have you got enough money to pay for your rent? Yes, it's a spiritual exercise. You went to church and they preach and you felt guilty. Or the man's wife met you at the market and said something. or somebody lied to you that if you have a relationship with somebody's husband, you too, somebody will have a relationship with your husband, you will say those things are lies. There are people who have never slept with anybody's husband before, but go and see how they are using their husband like a mop in a restaurant. So I'm saying that you took a decision like that. Now the hostel fee is there. She has to not defer the course for 3 years now. She's not been able to continue. I'm not saying it was right or wrong, but look at the decision she took.
So you should think about it critically.
My brother, if you help me finish my program, focus on your mind. This man must help me finish my first degree. After first degree, I want to do master. So this man, I'm using him for 5 years. You know, use people's husband for a project work.
Use people's husbands.
Because what is that?
For a project work.
Because God will bestow money in their hands to give to you. It is grace. So if you...
So are you encouraging side chickism? I don't know if there's any word like that.
My brother, but if
are you encouraging it?
But if I can discourage, Jesus Christ came. I don't know if you are very fluent with the Bible story. I don't know how many of the Bible stories you know, but you remember there was a lady that was brought that she has cheated.
Yes.
And they said they should cast the stone.
Let he who is without sin cast the first stone.
Did anybody cast the stone?
Everybody was sinful.
And everybody left.
Yes.
And what did Jesus say? Where are your accusers? Go and do what?
Sin no more.
What was her sin?
Adultery.
No.
What was the sin?
She was caught.
The sin was the act.
No.
How was the sin being
Were they
caught?
able to prove the act? See the game?
They were not there to prove the act.
But they brought her because because
of the act.
No.
And the reason why they couldn't cast any stone is because they themselves were sinful.
They brought her because...
Not because they couldn't prove that she was adulterous.
The law was
it was because they themselves...
No, that was not the thing. They said she was caught.
Yes, she was
in
caught.
the act.
Yes.
So if you are not catch, will you be brought?
No.
So go and see no one means go. Don't be caught. Because until you are not, you are surprised.
Yeah.
But if you are not caught, will they bring you?
So are you saying people should continue?
No, I'm saying even
doing
Jesus,
those things.
Even Jesus,
just that they shouldn't get caught.
Even Jesus, the master.
Is that what you're saying?
Even Jesus, the master, didn't stop the game. He said, "Go."
He said, "Go and sin no more."
And her sin was she was caught.
She was adulterous.
There was no proof. She was just caught. Could be.
Yes, so the proof is in the catching.
No.
Yes.
Do you know how many people they lied on? That what they are saying is not true.
But she was caught.
Everybody didn't prove she was caught. It says, "Go and sin no more." So you're brought here because they caught you. Practice the 11th command, that shall not be caught. So you are not brought. So you see, you're rushing in trying to get rich quick.
Right.
Have first degree quick.
Yeah.
All those things are important. But I'm saying for 2025, for you to survive, whether physically, whether spiritually, whether materially, a male or a female, whoever you are watching me this morning, the first thing is take a review or stock of your life. Where didn't I go right? If you can make a bold step to change anything, do. But don't forget, the biggest help that helps people to make proper resolution is to seek for counsel. Don't ignore a counselor. If you meet a professional counselor who you can open up to, who you can tell where you went wrong, who can point your temperament flaws to you through your temperament profile, it will help you.
Okay.
So take a stock of your life.
Okay.
Don't jump into conclusion.
All right.
And if you are confused with all the things I said, I don't know if you're wrapping up, but
we're wrapping up.
If you are confused, the last thing I want you to keep in your head is never ever make a major decision in a temporal situation. Work on your emotions. Work on your temper. Don't act because you think you have to act. Relax. Because life is that man, that woman, that thing that no condition is permanent. When the condition changes, will you still act the same way you are acting? Seek for counseling, because we are here to provide sound, non-judgmental help to make an informed decision. On 0277, it's my number. And this number, if you don't have it, by this time you should have not even voted the MPP government out of power because you don't have this number. On 0277, Honorable 609. Even all of them need to go through resolution plan 644, because you have to learn how to mourn your loss. And the next time we come, we'll discuss, by the permission of your people, we'll discuss how to mourn a loss, because mourning loss helps you to do proper resolution. On 0277 609 644. Remember, is always about Makpe ginger honey chips, the product of Council.
All right. So on our Facebook live stream, Nana Kosia Deborah and I singled out this comment because she says, "I need someone to talk to, please. I am really going through a whole lot and I don't know what to do."
0277.
That's her comment on our Facebook.
0277 609 644. Talk to the right person. Talk to the right people. They might add my number. The number is already on the system. Add it to my name. Okay. Let's help.
All right, but there's a picture. I don't know if you can see this picture, Councillor.
Yes.
What occasion was this?
This was when I was taking my honorary doctorate.
Your honorary doctorate?
I got my face here, yes.
Honorary doctorate.
I was honored by 2 universities from the university.